Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course I am joined by my cheerful co-host,
Rebekah,
and my sassy co-host,
Madison.
Today, we are not joined by Mary, unfortunately. Mary said she is dead tired, and I was like, can you fake it? And she's like, no. And then she gave me a look, and I was like, okay. So Mary will not be joining us today, but she wanted to be here for sure. She just is dead tired. So we're here to talk about the 24 players who will be on Survivor 50, a shocking number to be sure. And I don't want to waste too much time on preamble. We are going to go through each player in chronological order, chronological being the first season they were on. So we'll start with season 1 and we'll go all the way up through season 49. And we will talk about what we think about each of them. We're going to give our top 3 winner rankings, though at the time of recording, they haven't even filmed the season. So my winner rankings is probably more of like, we're just taking a guess. Who do we think has a good shot at winning is more of what this is. Because obviously, like, we've nothing to go on at all. Like, who are these 49 people? I don't know. So we're just taking a shot in the dark here. Jeff would love that. And yeah, so before we even get into our first player, very briefly, Rebekah, what do you think about 24 people being cast on this season?
Yeah, I am excited, I guess. I think it might work because we do know everyone kind of going into this. I mean, if this was 24 brand new people, it would be so overwhelming. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I am excited about like some of the people that they picked. So, you know, if we need to have this many people so that certain people can play, like, sure, let's do it. I am kind of curious. I'm assuming that is it confirmed that they're doing the 26-day season?
Yes, Jeff said that they don't have time. They don't have a contractual time to do 39 days.
And yeah, so that's kind of what I was assuming. But I mean, that is crazy fast. Like the pace of this game is going to be insane. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like it might be a bad thing, but who knows? Maybe they'll get out there and there will be some really fun blindsides and exciting gameplay. And so that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think with 90 minutes that it'll be potentially even if it's not the best returnee season, it'll be the best told story-wise returnee season because they do have more time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Madison, what do you think about this 24-person cast? Which, by the way, I want to throw out there, we have 12 people from pre-40 and 12 people post-40, potentially 2 tribes.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't know that I necessarily expected everyone who's on the cast, and candidly, I don't know everyone who's on the cast, but I'm excited to see some old faces, you know, not to say that they're old people, but these pre-40 people to spice up this post-40 thing we've got going on. I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what will happen. And I, from the bottom of my heart, have no idea who's going to win because there's this slight fear that I have, you know, that they're going to pick off all the pre-40 people. But we've seen stranger things happen where stuff like that did not happen. So I just don't know which way it's going to fall this time.
But yeah, I mean, 12 of these people have played 39-day seasons. How will they be on 26 days? Because you know they're not going to be on the island being like, well, back in my day, because that's just going to get them in trouble. So back in my day, we played seasons that were longer. Colby especially. Colby, our second player, played a 42-day season. This is cake.
Yeah.
This is cake, so.
But like, is it? Can they do that? Can they shorten it? That's my question. Do they know how to convert it?
They're older now. They don't get rice anymore.
Oh, no.
It's a very dangerous game these days. So I don't know.
Even though I think we did get to vote on the rice thing. So we'll see. Before we move on to Jenna Lewis, I have to say that Rebekah and I will be doing a podcast first Thursday of every month during the off season before 49. We're calling it Who Wants to Be a Chamillionaire, where we grill each other with Survivor trivia questions and you can play along. And one random person who participates with us will win a free month of Patreon at the highest tier. You don't have to get all the questions correct. You don't even need to be like the first listener or anything like that. It's just one random person will be selected. So yeah, Rebekah, are you ready for Who Wants to Be a Chamillionaire, which will debut next week?
Absolutely, I am. I'm so excited to, I guess, redeem myself. Here's the thing. I'm so mad. I was ahead of you this entire season, and then in the finale, you beat me. So I'm going to be bringing some really challenging questions, and may the best survivor win, if you will.
We're going to have lifelines. We are going to have, the questions are going to start easy, and they're going to, by the end of the podcast, by the end of the Who Wants to Be a Chamillionaire,
just insane.
Yeah, like, but like the only rule is that it has to be on the Survivor Wiki. You cannot pull from random places. Yep. So if it's ain't in the wiki, it doesn't count. So there is some guidelines, but yeah, it's going to go from easy to where did you come up with that question? That's not fair.
Cut to me just like all night. I'm just staying up all night adding random things to the Survivor Wiki just to try and stump you.
Anyways, that will be next Thursday, and it'll be the first Thursday of every month. Okay, let's move on to our first player, Jenna Lewis. She played on Survivor Borneo and All-Stars. Borneo is a hard one to compare to Survivor 50, considering that at the time when the show was filmed, nobody knew what Survivor was in any way, shape, or form, and she was on the tribe that didn't even form an alliance. So, yeah, Jenna on Borneo is like hard to compare, but when you think to her All-Stars a time, you know, when she actually got to play properly, Jenna actually got, most people remember Rob and Amber, but what they don't remember is Jenna was right there. She was third place. Jenna holds on to the hand on the heart idol. Jenna potentially gets second. I don't think she wins. I mean, oh, maybe. She's against Rob. I hope not. Anyways, Jenna went on to All-Star. She's like, all winners need to die. So we'll see if she goes on to 50 and goes, all winners need to die again. Because I actually would find that funny a second time. First time I was not funny. This time I would find it funny. Let's start with you, Rebekah, because I think you actually know of Jenna Lewis. This is the one player I know the three of us probably have the least amount of knowledge on. Rebekah, what do you think about Jenna?
I definitely would say she's probably one of the people on the cast that I have the least memory of. I have seen, I believe, both of her seasons, but yes, just, I don't remember a ton of details about her time playing. I do think it's going to be interesting with everyone coming in, especially someone who hasn't played for so long, just seeing kind of like you're saying how their strategy might change. I mean, I was joking, but the game is different now. I mean, just being, you know, a shorter season and with there being so many people on the season, it's going to be really interesting to see how she kind of like maneuvers, you know, in such a large crowd. And also like, I mean, you know, there's relationships outside of the game and everyone is kind of aware of these people now. So yeah, I think definitely going to be different from her first season if I had to guess. And yeah, I don't know. I would love to see her play kind of similarly to All-Stars because I agree that would be very hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I could definitely see if they do a tribe of, you know, people pre-season 40 and people post-season 40, like I could see the pre-40 tribe doing really well in challenges. And that's kind of what I would hope for, is that they could kind of dominate challenges for a little while, maybe get some of these newer players out of here, and then we'll have an interesting playing field. So yeah, I hope she could be part of some moves like that.
1000%. I do hope it is 2 tribes instead of 3, and that those 3 colors we voted on was 2 tribes, and then the third one is the merge, because I do think a tribe of 12 pre-40 people would be more interesting than just like 3 hodgepodge tribes of 8, which I think is probably what we're going to get, but I'm hoping it's 2 tribes. Also with Jenna, I want to throw out there that when she played on All-Stars, they were given no rice as well. So this would not be the first time if we, for some reason, the fan base did vote for no rice this season. Madison, well, I think I know the answer, but what's your knowledge of Jenna Lewis?
So I'm going to go ahead and just throw it out there because I know it drives you crazy. I have watched All-Stars and somehow I have never completed season 1. So I have only seen the All Returners season that Jenna was on, of course. I do think it's very cool, though, that we've got someone who was on season 1 and now season 50. So I think if I did my research correctly, and someone can correct me if I didn't, I think she was the youngest on season 1, if not one of the youngest. So, of course, it kind of had to be her. Yeah, so it needed to be that.
Yeah, she's only 47 now. Modern season, she'd be the old lady.
Right? She would be, which is so upsetting. But yeah, so it's cool to see someone who's season 1 and season 50. I'm with you guys. I would love to see 2 tribes as long as old school dominates because I don't want to lose them quickly. I prefer to see these people who are returning. But hopefully she's learned her lesson to not pair up with a showmance. You know, I think if Rob and Amber weren't in love, maybe she had a better shot at winning.
She was paired with Rupert on season 8, and Rupert was just so loyal to a fault.
Rupert was Rupert.
Rupert was Rupert. He was loyal to a fault, which helped Jenna, but did ultimately do them in when it came time that they should have turned on Rob and Amber, and they didn't. Yeah. If there was somebody from Borneo I'd prefer over her, Jervis, though I understand that moves it from a woman to a man, and clearly she's filling a woman slot. They got an equal number of women and men this season. So a woman from season 1, I get her because the second place player, Wigglesworth, has already come back and played, and she was a dud the second time. Colleen has basically like never returned and has like gone hidden from the face of the planet, however you want to call that, like just nuked herself off the planet from. So she was never going to come back. So it's like, all right, what other woman? Sue came back in All Stars, and I don't know how to put this. That didn't go very well for the show with her and Rich. So yeah, if any woman, I guess, had to come back, I guess it makes sense to Jenna. But if they had to pull anybody from Borneo, I would have loved to have seen Jervis a third time. I thought Jervis was fun on Borneo and on Blood versus Water. But all right, so that is Jenna. She does not crack any of our top threes. We will reveal our top 3 winner picks at the very end of the podcast. But my prediction for Jenna is that she gets ignored for a long time despite being from Borneo. I just don't think anybody's going to look at Jenna as... What do you guys think on that one? Do you think she's making the merge, or is she an easy vote?
Oh, yeah. No, I think she's making the merge for sure. I think she is someone who will probably be underestimated, especially because, like you said, at this point, she could be kind of seen as that older woman. But I mean, yeah, she's played multiple times. Like I could definitely see her being underestimated. And I'm also curious, like how many people from, these post 40 seasons are familiar with her game. Because that's another element is like, in current seasons, they've been casting people who are not that familiar with the show. Like, is Joe going to know who she is?
No.
I kind of doubt it, honestly, So it's like, yeah, I could see her being really underestimated.
Yeah, I don't know that I could add a new thought to that. I think she will be underestimated. I think she'll coast under the radar. I think it's possible, though, that if the old school, let's hypothetically say there's an old school tribe, if they're losing, I could see her going. But I also think if that doesn't happen, she'll last.
There's 12 pre-40 and 12 post-40 feels intentional. And maybe it's just for simply to say there's a balance, but I sure hope it's split that way. So, but we do have 24 people to get through. Let's move on to Colby Donaldson, who I'm surprised he's brought back without Jerry Manthe. Every time he's played, it's been with Jerry Manthe, but then Jerry Manthe posted on Instagram just the other day how she was cut from 50, along with a few others. Like Abby Maria said she was cut. Jonathan Penner said he was cut. Other people I would have loved to have seen on 50, but this is what Survivor gets for not doing enough returnee seasons lately. Like they need to do another one in the next couple years. Like stop waiting 6 years to do one. Insane. So Colby Donaldson infamously got second place. By the way, a lot of second place people on this season. I almost thought for a second, I'm like, is this going to be like, they're going to have tribes of second place players? So many. Colby Donaldson got second place in Australian Outback, played on All Stars, did not make the merge, got outed, got basically shot in the back by Jerry Manthe, and then comes back in Heroes vs. Villains and basically, how do I say this? Kind of just like sleeps his way to Final 5. Like he was called Superman in a fat suit. He went from like loving Survivor on seasons 2 and 8 to like just like he like told his tribe multiple times like it's okay, you can vote me out, and then they just didn't. And it's like that wasn't like next level gameplay. That's just what he was like. I meant it, and then they don't do it. So yeah, Colby. Colby, I feel like with 26 days and. I feel like he might come back and like want to play this time. I feel like all Heroes vs. Villains, I think he was totally checked out. Like he was on that season. He was like, I don't even know who some of these people are. If Colby says that again this season, I believe it again.
Right.
But I also believe that I think Colby's time might actually want to play because it is only 26 days. And I think he's going to see that last time's effort was viewed as like lackluster. And I think Colby will want to make up for that. So I don't know. What do you think, Rebekah? What do you think about Colby?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think that what I'm hoping for is sort of a, I guess, redemption arc from him where he, because like the last time he played, I didn't watch that season live when he was, on Heroes vs. Villains, but it did strike me as like a viewer as just being like, oh man, it's kind of disappointing in some ways of like, yeah, you want to see people on the show who are like excited to be there and are doing well in challenges. And you can kind of sense his frustration and his disappointment in himself. So I would love to see some sort of redemption arc where, I mean, obviously if he's on 50, he clearly wanted to come back. So I would, hope that he would, like you said, just be enthusiastic and like really put everything into this season, and I hope he does well. I would love to have just like, a nice sort of redemption arc for his time on Survivor.
And of course, him having been on Heroes vs. Villains and All Stars means that he has played with Jenna Lewis in some way, shape, or form, like them simply existing on the same season at minimum. I don't remember them having any interactions off the top of my head, but also he's on season with Coach. So I don't remember
Stephenie
him.
and Cirie too.
Yep, Stephenie and Cirie, correct. And he was on the same tribe as Stephenie and Cirie, whereas with Coach, he was never on the tribe with him. Coach went out before they actually merged. So yeah, Stephenie and Cirie, definitely a direct connection on that one. But again, Colby like kind of just chilled his way to the end. And I want to throw this out there because I will make a Survivor 50 playlist of people who I have videos for that are in Survivor 50. I will link, that'll be the pinned comment on this podcast here on YouTube. And with that, I have opened it up on Patreon, whereas normally we've restricted the story video voting to be just people who have played on the seasons that I have. I'm covering them in chronological order. So at the moment we're up through 26, but I am opening up to people who will be on 50, but that voting is open to all paid patrons who are $10 and up. And it will be for only the people who are on 50. It's not like just the entire seasons they were on. It's just for those certain people. So anyone's going to throw that out there in case you do want to pick them to get story videos, because some of them do not have story videos that are going to be on there.
I'm excited to see him without Jerry, although I'm a little disappointed to see him without Jerry. Just because, I mean, kind of like what Rebekah said, right? I mean, he was depleted by the end of Heroes versus Villains. Like, that man was tired.
He was depleted at the beginning of Heroes versus Villains.
He really was. And I will never forget, I think it was a reward challenge. He was with, who was it? Amanda and Danielle. And he was just on that bed trying to watch that movie. And they are fighting over the immunity.
Yes.
So he makes for good TV.
He's like, I'm just watching Treasure Planet. He's like,
he's just trying to watch his movie. He's just trying to chill. So like, I want to see that man on an island with Q. Like, what's going to happen if he's just trying to breathe and chill and Q's trying to play hide and seek? So I'm excited to see Colby return because Q could be his new Jerry. Who knows?
Q's like, Colby didn't try his best in that challenge. Big mistake. Next challenge, Colby wins. He's like, Colby won the challenge for us. That's a big mistake.
Cancel Christmas.
Cancel Christmas. Colby won the immunity challenge for our tribe. That's a big mistake. That's only the assumption that they're not. I assume they're going to end up doing 3 tribes, by the way. Maybe they'll do like half new era, half old era on each tribe for the 3 tribes if they do 3 tribes. Yeah.
I want to see these people from the old era mix with the new era because they are very different personalities.
But it needs to be equal numbers on each tribe. Like, I can't be seeing 5 new and 3 old on a tribe. Like, that's just, don't even. Like, and then if they lose, that's on them. Like, if you lose the numbers, at least you had an equal chance. You screwed it up, you know? All right, cool. Colby, I am assuming Colby is another person who probably makes the merge. But if he's trying too hard, I can see him going early and they're like, oh, this is not the Colby I was expecting. We got to get rid of him. So I don't know.
I do think his gameplay getting worse over his seasons, though, could work to his advantage here.
That's true. Yeah, he hasn't been a threat since season 2. And like, come on now. Come on now. Well, with that, Mary actually did do a board game review with me. So I am going to put that here. We reviewed a board game. Board game time. Today's board game is Tokaido from Stonemaier Games. Mary, literally the goats. They send us awesome board games every time. Now, what awesome board game did they send us this time to play?
All right. So this time we had Tokaido, which was originally published by Funforge, but Stonemaier has made a republication of it, and we really, really enjoyed it. It's for 1 to 5 players. Takes about 45 to 60 minutes. It's a competitive path advancement and set collection game.
I would say the 45 minutes, though. We probably played it in 30 with just the 2 of us.
Yes, with just the 2 of us, it did not take long at all. It's definitely a simple, fun, but strategy, challenging game that we enjoyed a lot. The artwork is just gorgeous. There's there's one path that you're following. I love the path advancement aspect of it. That was unique to me. And it was just super enjoyable. It's like just a chill game.
But there is definitely strategy to it in terms of like how you want to move ahead. Do you want to jump somebody else? Do you want to stay behind them? Because whoever's in last place on the board gets to go ahead and gets to make a decision. Do I want to jump ahead? Do I want to keep going? You know, like there's strategy to it, but also it feels like every place you go to advances you as a player on the points. And you're like, and it's ridiculous, Mary. It came down to what? 1 point between us. And that's because I made a stupid mistake at the end.
Yep. That was your choice.
Not very funny, Mary. Not very funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Again, thank you, Stonemeyer Games, for Tokaido, a great game. Link in the description. We highly recommend it for ages, I would say 8 and up could play this game very easily. Do you think that's fair, Mary?
Yes.
All right. So with that link in the description, let's get back to me and Rebekah. Okay, our next player is Stephenie LaGrossa, and she was on Survivor Palau, her best season of the 3 she was on. She was on Guatemala, where she got second place, another second placer, in Heroes versus Villains, where she was voted out second, which is quite the opposite of her second place playing. She was also on Snake in the Grass with Cirie, where she was the snake in the grass, and she did so terribly as the snake that they actually edited the show completely different for the episode because it was so obvious that they couldn't even pretend, because Snake in the Grass is supposed to be presented as you don't know who the snake is, but Stephenie made it so obvious so early that they had to edit the episode differently than all the other episodes because of how bad she was at it. So then, so she loses obviously to Cirie, and then her and Cirie are on the Traders, where not a spoiler because it has been a couple years, but Cirie wins the Traders in such impressive fashion. It made everyone else look like idiots, and Stephenie was one of those idiots. She's not an idiot. She just looked like an idiot because of how good Cirie played. And then, that's it for Stephenie. So she disappeared for a while after Heroes vs. Villains, and then came on those 2 shows with Cirie. And I don't know if her and Cirie share an agent or something, because look how many shows they've been on together since Heroes vs. Villains. My goodness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's vouching for these?
That is interesting.
Stephenie, though, is the one person. There's only, I think, maybe 2 people. I'm I didn't really need to see you again. Stephenie is one of them for me, because I see her on Snake in the Grass and the Traders. I'm it's the same lady we saw before. I'm okay. There's nothing super impressive in my opinion. Her best story was in Palau when she got down to being the only person left in our tribe. So Stephenie, I don't care how far she makes it. And I'm not super looking forward to her, but I do have, again, she's our player. I have a story video for covering all of her seasons. While she had an interesting journey, it's just that I don't think there's anything new. What is left for Stephenie to show me, Whereas I think Jenna Lewis and Colby have something. I'm what does Stephenie have? I don't know. So with that, Madison, do you remember Stephenie LaGrossa?
The main thing, honestly, that comes to my mind when I think about her is when her shoulder popped out and it was super metal, and they put that sucker right back in, and she kept playing and then immediately got voted out 1 episode later.
She got bullied out by James.
Yeah, well, that's James for you, I think.
Hey.
But I'm kind of with you. I mean, she's been on TV a lot. So at a certain point with some people, I don't necessarily need to see them again. I'm not super invested in her game. I kind of don't think she'll go super far because of that. There's a lot of gameplay you can watch on her, but yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit of a miss for me, but I'm always happy to be wrong about that.
With Stephenie too, it's her first 2 seasons of Survivor. It's such a compelling story being those back-to-back seasons of Palau and then Guatemala. And after that hasn't really been much to her story since. So that's why I'm saying definitely check out her story video in terms of her first 2 seasons. They're really compelling, but it's after that, it's I don't know what else is there to Stephenie. Those first 2 seasons were kind of everything.
What's unique about my controversial watch style of Survivor, where I tend to watch, returnee seasons first.
Shameful.
What happens though, look, I take it at this point, but what happens with that is I always hear of people's reputations and then I watch their season that they came back. And so she was very hyped up and then fell very flat in Heroes versus Villains. That was my first experience with her. So that sets my pace for what I think of her, if that makes sense.
A little backstory here for everybody's listening. Madison and Rebekah and I, all separately, of course, we're all friends in person for years before they ever podcast with me. And when I met Madison, she's I know 2 things about Survivor. One is I know a player who I am not a fan of at all. In fact, she told me never to mention that person's name on this podcast because of how much she doesn't like him. Also, she's I watched Winners of Wars my first season, and I about fell out of my chair, and I think I was standing when she told me that. I was Madison, what are you doing?
I live chaotically,
She does.
Nothing wrong with that.
And now it's kind of a thing, though, because when you're friends with someone who's a Survivor podcaster before you're ever on the podcast and you hear that they hate that you're doing that, you have to continue. So I did.
Oh, of course.
Madison defies everything I've ever said ever. And that's why she's podcasting.
It's my goal in life, Wesley.
That's a correct attitude to have.
No, bad.
Thank you.
I will just say my 2 cents with Stephenie, and what I fear may happen is that I think that she might come into this game and be sort of seen as a GOAT immediately because of kind of what you guys have been saying of like, yeah, she was interesting in her first 2 seasons, but like not really a threat or like anything interesting after that. Just seeing, like, I don't think she's a great liar. I don't even know if she's necessarily great at strategy or like the game of Survivor. She just happened to, you know, win fire against Bobby John. You know what I mean? Like, she just happened to be the last one to be voted out of her tribe or whatever. So yeah, I could definitely see her threat level being super low coming in to season 50 and her being taken at least to the merge.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that doesn't happen because I think there are so many other players on this season that I would rather see get to strategize and to just play the game. But I do see that could possibly be a thing that happens. So that's my prediction.
She's definitely one of the people that if it goes early, I'm like, that's fine. That's fine. I'm okay. So
yeah, agreed. As long as I just hope she doesn't dislocate her shoulder again.
I mean, what if it's the other one? She pops that one. I want to point out though. Okay, so one fun thing about Stephenie, and then please let's move on because we have 24 people to talk about. One fun thing about Stephenie is that on Guatemala on season 11, she said something about worrying about having her shoulder pop out. Like she's like, I'm worried about this occurring. Yeah, something to that effect. And I was like, I went back and watched it, of course, after Heroes vs. Villains when I made her video. And I was like, oh my gosh, like the show and her unintentionally set up what actually occurred on, which I know she wasn't like, I'm going to go on Heroes vs. Villains and pop out my shoulder. That's not how Stephenie's thinking. So yeah.
Well, and I think once you do it, it's easier to do it again. So yeah, that would be crazy if it did happen again. But for her sake, I hope it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't either.
I really hope it doesn't.
Survivor's not physical enough to do that anymore. In fact, I was listening to the On Fire podcast working on the Survivor 48 Secrets video. Among many things Jeff said we should want, number one being maximum advantages at all times, and he was not joking. Oh my gosh, about fell out of my chair again.
Oh, no.
Even though I think I knew that knowledge. I think I knew that, but I still was like, come on. The other thing was, he says he doesn't want to do any challenges where people do one-on-one face-offs. He says he doesn't like that style. He's like, that's not what Survivor is anymore. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Jeff?
What about Final Four fire making? Is he against that?
That's one-on-one.
No, he means one-on-one where it's like a physical contest. Like let's shove each other off of the platform kind of thing.
Yeah, but those are awesome.
Yeah, even if they did it like on the water in the ocean, like where it's like a much safer than like falling into mud or whatever. I was like, come on, these are good challenges. Make them happen. Jeff's like, that's not what we do here on Survivor anymore. It's not our style. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jeff, can you stop fun sucking for 1 minute? All right, so let's move on to Cirie, who everyone and their mother should have known she was going to be on the season because when Jeff announced 50, he's like, I don't like that some people went on. He didn't say the traitors, but he meant the traitors. The traitors, referring to Carolyn, who's not on the season, which is a shame. He's like, but Cirie can do whatever she wants. She's the queen.
It's
so we all knew what he meant when he said that. Cirie's on the season. Cirie was on Panama. She got to Final Four and she lost in fire making. Played in Micronesia, got to Final 3. And in many people's minds got screwed by the twist, quote unquote, of that season where it was a Final 2 instead of Final 3. It wasn't a twist. It was the fact that they had like 3 people go out of the season early. So they just the matter of episodes and tribal councils and whatnot. But anyways, she lost that immunity challenge of her own free will to Amanda, not on purpose, of course, but it was a risk challenge. I remember earlier in Micronesia, she's like, if they have any sort of challenge where I just have to like hold my hand steady and I don't win it, that's a shame because I'm a nurse. And then that's how she loses. Here's her villain. She goes out early on the Heroes Tribe. Game Changers, she makes it super deep, goes out in advantage get-in where everyone had advantage except for her. And to this day, Jeff's like, that's one of the best moments ever on Survivor. And again, he's being unironic. It's not,
Jeff.
Correct. After Game Changers, she goes on to Snake in the Grass, where I already talked about how she's like everyone and their mother sniffed out Stephenie like 5 minutes into the game. It was insane. Stephenie was horrible. Stephenie even said like, I'm not a good snake. Like it was, and so yeah. So anyway, Cirie won that. It was like splitting a pot of 100K between her and 2 other people. She then goes on. I think it's the Traitors after that. I'm trying to remember the chronological order. Again, I have videos. I have videos for everything Cirie's done so far. That's in the playlist. Cirie goes on the Traitors, wins that in easy fashion. Like she makes it look so easy, and no one since her has made it look like she made it look so easy. It's insane how easy she made it look. She then goes on Big Brother, where she finishes in 5th. Though I want to point out that by day 40 of 100, she was trying to quit the game, and the show convinced her not to because she was like, "This is going on forever." This is cool.
I can't believe that show is 100 days. That's so crazy.
Long. It's a
100
commitment
days
to watch.
Constantly being filmed, and Cirie wanted to leave before they hit the jury phase, and the show's like, please, for the love of everything, don't. You're the reason people are watching.
Son on it too?
and her son was on it too. But we don't talk about him. She got to 5th. Believe it or not, she was so close. She just can't win challenges. Again, that's what did her in on Big Brother. She just couldn't win challenge. And then she is going to be on Australian Survivor versus the World. At the moment, we don't know how she does. And I'm aware there are possibly spoilers out there. Please do not spoil it in the comments. I want to watch the season fresh. I'm sure we all do. So please don't spoil. I'm sure she doesn't win that. But if she does, that's impressive. I know Australian Survivor is very physical with their challenges, the opposite of what Jeff said. No physical challenges. It's scary. From Jeff. It's too dangerous, Rebekah, to do one-on-one physical confrontations. So yeah, Cirie's been in like 10 different things. And I gotta say, this is it. 50 is it. I don't want to see Cirie on anything else. After 50 is the cap. She has now had so many shots at everything in the world, and she won the Traders. Good for her. Like, all right, she gets to make up for advantage, get it on 50. How does she do? I don't know. I think if you're out there and you're smart, you do what Boston Rob said. If they're smart, they'll get me out, but they never do. That's what you need to do, Cirie. Cirie cannot. Don't let her make the merge. Get her out early. Cirie is not there to help you win the million. So, Rebekah, what do you think about Cirie?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I'm happy that she's getting, I guess, sort of redemption from Game Changers, although that wasn't her fault by any means. That was a circumstantial thing. But yeah, I'm excited to see her come back. I think that Cirie is going to be extremely dangerous, especially if she ever ends up on a tribe or like in the merge situation with, I guess I'll call them like new players, people post 40. I know everyone's played the game before, but I do think that we've just seen, going back to the Traders again, just the way that she is so easily able to manipulate people because she forms genuine connections with them. And I think that that's something that, again, especially people who might not be as familiar with Cirie, like these people who are not as big, massive fans of Survivor as a lot of the pre-40 people will be. I think some of the post-40 people just might, honestly, underestimate her. And that can be very dangerous. And she's shown that many times. But yeah, I'm hoping she makes it far. I would love to see her win. I don't know if realistically she really can.
Yeah, I wonder.
But I would love to see her win Survivor and then just be done. I agree with you. I don't need to see her play again after this.
This is the end. I'm not saying she can't do other shows, but this is it. I don't want any more Cirie in Survivor. I know Jeff loves her, but Jeff, believe it or not, I don't know if both of you knew this, Rebekah and Madison, but he actually asked Boston Rob again, and Boston Rob's like, no.
Of course he did.
He seriously asked Boston Rob again. I was like, dude.
I bet he asks Boston Rob every season, even if there's no returnees. Jeff's just twice a year he's calling Rob, and Rob's like, no, Jeff.
Just like, Boston Rob, there's no better way to start the new era than with you on it, right, buddy?
He's just biding his time till the youngest or the oldest child can be on the show. Then he'll stop asking.
There you go.
Boston Rob's oldest kid is driving a car, so that means she's what?
So we're 2 years away. Yeah, 3 years away.
Wait, can you imagine if Boston Rob's oldest kid got on the show and then voted him out? Jeff would lose his mind.
Boston Rob would allow that and pretend he didn't want it to happen, but he totally would.
Yes.
Let's be real. That's where Boston Rob's at as a person. But I want to say that I don't know if she's 16 or she's 15. 15, you get your learner's permit. But point being is that, yes, theoretically, in 2 to 3 summers, she could be cast on the show. And of course, that's when they'll have the next returnee season. And that's when they do Blood vs. Water 3.
That would be amazing.
Or that's when Survivor officially ends. Jeff is just waiting for the first Survivor baby, and then he's done.
Nah, man, it's gonna be Blood vs. Water 3. Jeff's the only reason to bring it back is for Boston Rob, buddy. All right, so I know you were here to talk about Cirie, but I am saying if they're smart, Cirie goes early. But if they let her make the merge, that they've asked for trouble. They've asked for trouble by letting her go that far.
I would love to see her win, personally. I think I am still mad to this day about how she went out the last time that she played. But I could kind of see, though, a little bit of the opposite of what you said, Rebekah. I could see some new blood being down to work with Cirie and thinking they'd be able to cut the head of the snake off at a certain point and not being able to do that. I mean, if I was on Survivor, I'd want to work with Cirie because it's Cirie, Take me to the end.
This is the time Cirie actually has an idol to stop her inevitable doom at the end, you mean?
If Cirie gets all the idols this time, is that redemption? I don't know.
And then, okay, but here's the thing. Here's the perfect circle. You ready? Cirie lost her very first season, Panama. Like, she went out on the Final Four fire making. What if this time she actually wins the Final Four fire making and then wins the season? And it's a perfect circle.
Oh, that'd be beautiful.
I know.
Well, and like, wouldn't people want to be on the side of history that gave Cirie her first actual Survivor win? I'd vote for her.
Gabler comes in. He's like, what? What's going on? He's like, I'm here to set the record on fire making again. He wins. Gabler's not even on the season. He just shows up for new fire making and wins. I think he wins 7-1 Cassidy and Owen are on the side like, what again?
What if Gabler is so under the water this season that he's not even on the show until the fire making?
You just occasionally see bubbles in the water. It's Gabler.
Yes, exactly.
They like randomly throughout the season, that's our winter edit. They randomly see bubbles out in the ocean. Just like random shots of bubbles in the ocean. Like, who is that?
That's so funny.
Gabler. Let's
move on to Ozzy, a player. He's the only other one I'm like, I don't really need to see him again. Him and Stephenie are the two. Ozzy's back, and I know he's a fan favorite of many people. He played in Cook Islands, another second placer, got second place at Cook Islands. Micronesia goes out due to his own hubris, where he lost Cook Islands due to his hubris as well, but the show presented him as better than that. Goes out to his own hubris on Micronesia because he thinks he was unstoppable and didn't play his idol. South Pacific, he gets voted out 3 times, once on purpose, because the Redemption Island that season, gets voted out, comes back in, gets voted out, but he's like, whatever, I'll live on Redemption Island and dominate, and he did, and the show presented him as awesome, and he gets to Final Four and he loses to Sophie on the Final Immunity Challenge. But had he won it, he did win the season, so he was on the cusp of winning twice. Game Changers comes back, he does okay, but he was on a season where the boot order was just not a good boot order. I mean, when Tony goes out second, it's not a great season. So it really wasn't. Ozzy, since then, has not been in any other shows I'm aware of. I am aware of his very, how do I put this?
Don't go there.
The third letter from the end of the alphabet passed. Okay. Not passed, I guess anyway, so I'm aware Ozzy's done, I don't scrupulous. Is that the word? I don't know what the word is. Things after the show.
He's just got a different job.
Yes. And I am shocked that he's the one for some, like, really? They're okay. All right. Well, anyways, so keeping this thing PG, just saying he's the one I'm surprised the most they actually brought back, believe it or not, over everyone. Cause I'm like, really? But Ozzy, I anticipate Ozzy will be the same exact person he has been the other 4 times. Yes, I have story videos for all of his seasons, just like Cirie. I don't know if I mentioned it for her too, everything she's done. Yeah, Ozzy has story videos for everything he's done, and every single time he has been the same person. So it's a matter of his circumstances determine how well he does, because he is the same person playing the same way all 4 times. With that, I think it doesn't matter how far you let him get, because he's not going to win, frankly. And he is 43, so he is definitely past his prime now. Whereas his previous times playing, he was in his 30s or younger. And it's like, okay, he was still like, but now I don't know. I mean, but challenges aren't really the same as they were either. So who knows? Madison, what do you think about Ozzy coming back?
Yeah, I agree with you pretty much about, I've seen him a lot. So when I saw his name on the list, I was a little surprised as well. Because I think we've seen what there is to see about Ozzy. I will say one piece of intrigue that I have is seeing Ozzy with Jonathan, right? Because if you go all the way back, to his
Jonathan from 42.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think, young Ozzy is comparable to Jonathan, although Jonathan is just a beast in his own right. That man, I've mentioned it on here before. I will never forget that man dragging everybody in the water. But like you said,
I want to throw it out there. Madison is married, and she's speaking about Jonathan from a purely platonic point of view. And she says, that man.
Yes. Shout out to my husband who listens to every podcast I'm on. I love you. But yeah, no, I think young Ozzy is comparable to Jonathan in that regard. So what is Ozzy now? What is that going to be like juxtaposed with Jonathan?
What is Ozzy now is not a question I want to answer.
On this show.
Yeah, on the show. Okay. Well, the same person, probably just 43. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if I could like kind of piggyback off that a little bit, I think that something that I enjoyed so much about Ozzy's early seasons were, number one, it was just, I mean, he was just built for this show. I mean, they kind of talked about it on the show, but just, yeah, like just so good at swimming and just like all the different, like every skill set that he has just lends itself to all the challenges and different things. Like you said, Wesley, the challenges are different now, so it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. But I think something that Ozzy could potentially bring to the show is maybe a sense of like wonder, for lack of a better word. Like I felt like in early seasons, he was just so in his element and he was so like, I'm going to go fishing and, you know, we're on this adventure. And that's something I've talked about on this podcast before is like Survivor is supposed to be an adventure. Like, yes, it's a game show. Yes, it's a social game, but like also they're on an island in Fiji, you know? And so we've gotten into kind of some routines with being in the same spot for so long and all of that. So if anything, I would hope that Ozzy could kind of bring some of that excitement and adventure back. But that being said, he is older now. The challenges are different now. Who knows if that's actually going to be the case? And I don't really know that he has anything in terms of like
character,
social or strategic gameplay or even character that I'm like super interested in necessarily. So I agree with you. He's definitely one that I would have been fine if they didn't cast him, but I don't know. I hope to be surprised, I guess, is what I'm trying to say with all of that.
Yeah, they could have definitely replaced Ozzy, Jenna, and Stephenie with somebody else. Jenna, I'm like, I get why somebody had to come back from Borneo. I understand that. Just Ozzy and Stephenie feels like this could have been someone else. Like you had to have a season one person for sure, but you could have not done Ozzy and Jenna. I'm sorry, Ozzy and Stephenie.
Yes.
Between the two, though, I'm most excited about Ozzy. If I had to pick between those two.
Between Ozzy and Stephenie?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Because Ozzy has potential to win. Like
Over
Stephenie never had potential to win.
Does he though?
Yes. Ozzy definitely does.
If you had to pick between the two, I think he does.
Yeah.
But do I think he'll win? No.
It has been, hold on, when was Game Changers actually filmed? Game Changers was filmed in 2016. It has been 9 years. The man could have, and I want to give him some credit, though we know what he's done after Game Changers, could have gained humility, but that is a lot to say considering what we know. So, you know, people can gain humility as they get older, and like that's honestly been the one downfall, like of why he lost Cook Islands and why he went early in Micronesia earlier than he should have. And South Pacific, he was winning, but he was still not humble on South Pacific. Game Changers was just a matter of, oh, it's Ozzy and he's a big name, he needs to go. Where I feel like Ozzy on this cast, actually, while he is a big name, I don't think that, well, we'll see. I don't think that's the reason to get rid of Ozzy this time, if they get rid of him. Like, I don't know if being a big name is going to be enough this time. Whereas like on Game Changers, I got it because it was like half a cast of Game Changers and half a cast of like, who? But this time it's like, okay, like sure, half the cast is New Era, but I don't know, like it's been 9 years since Ozzy played, and the last time he played, he didn't do very well. So like the last time Ozzy did really well, like in most people's eyes, is South Pacific, and that was like flipping 2011. You know, 14 years.
It's been a minute.
Quite a long time, yeah. You know, he was literally in his 20s back then. So, all right, with that, that's Ozzy. Okay, let's move on to, and I know this is a controversial one. If Mary was on the podcast, she would boo this pick. But Benjamin Coach Wade, what's his name? What's his birth name? Benjamin. Benjamin is on season 50. I am happy to see this. I know people are like, why do you keep bashing him for what he did on South Pacific with his cult alliance? Like, okay, people again could have now, unlike Ozzy, Benjamin, we'll see. Benjamin could have gained a different perspective on life in the past 14 years. It could have changed the person. I think he's married now and stuff. Anyways, point being, sorry, he was on, he's in our second place person, by the way, last second place people. Tocantins, iconic Tocantins run. I got videos for each of his seasons as well. Heroes versus Villains. Despite not making the merge, he did make the jury. Iconic again. I cannot forget the time that Sandra called him out tribal, and that night at camp, he's crying to Tyson. He's like, why do people say that about me, man? And Tyson's like, take the feather out of your hair. Stop talking about.
Stop doing the coachee.
Stop doing the coach chi. Coach's like, there'll be no one like me, man. There's never been anyone like me. Like, that's Coach. And then South Pacific, he runs a cult and gets second place, loses to Sophie. Though I think had he owned his game, he could have won. Like, again, another second placer, a lot of second placers. And I really like when they do casts with like people who made it to the very end. Like, I feel like, okay, these people know what it takes to get to the end. You know, I don't think he's running a cult again on this season unless it's a bunch of people like pretending they're in one, because I don't think this cast is dumb enough to fall for that. But yeah, Coach, this is one person I was like waiting, because on Edge of Extinction, believe it or not, he was asked back for Edge of Extinction season 38. And he said, no, he's like, I only have one more season in me. Of course, this is Coach talking. So like it could have been they asked him and they cut him and he's like retelling the story in favor of him. That would sound just like him. But let's like believe him for a minute. He said, no, I only got one more season in me. So whenever you do some sort of epic season with all returnees, I will be on that one. And hey, this is the next one, because Winners of War was not an option. This is the next one. He's on it. So like, whether he rewrote history by saying that or not, he was dead on. He was right. Here he is. He's on it. So I am looking forward to Coach Wade. Again, like Cirie, this is like, for most of these people, like this has to be the last time. Coach, this has to be the last time. I am looking forward to it. I hope Coach leans into the fact that he is the Dragon Slayer and like goes more in the route of heroes versus villains and Tokaidos rather than the cult of South Pacific where he wasn't that fun. So Madison, Coach, I know you're a huge fan, right?
I mean, honestly, I kind of do enjoy watching Coach. Yes. I haven't seen South Pacific. So people in the comments, tell me which one I need to see first. Wesley has his opinions.
Don't watch South Pacific. You haven't missed much there with him.
Okay, cool. So let's pretend that season doesn't exist and I really enjoy Coach.
Yes, you'll have more fun. Yeah.
He's a lot of fun to me. I love his antics, his random romance with Jerry. Again, I say Jerry should be on this season, but I don't.
Oh, I know. I mean, Coach is married now, though. That's a little weird. So.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I
that wouldn't have been rekindled.
I take that back. Don't want that rekindled. Not into that. But I think Coach is in a similar category for me as Q, in that you just make good TV. I don't expect you to win, but you're a character. I love watching you. I want you to go far. I will be surprised if you win. But I enjoy his antics, and I just enjoy how eclectic he is and the fun that he brings to a season outside of the last one he was on, apparently. So again, I'm just excited to see Coach. I'm okay with Coach being on here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think he was one that I wouldn't have been heartbroken if he wasn't on this season, but knowing that he's on the cast, it's like, yeah, I'm excited to see him play again. I mean, he is, like you said, just great TV, great entertainment value. I'm also interested to see him play with Joe, because they both have had such a, like, they both have come into the show being like, honor and integrity is going to be the foundation of like my alliances and all these things. And so I'm very curious to see if they're gonna.
Can we pause? What if Coach?
Yeah, what's up?
What if Coach and Joe are on Joe Hunter on the same season, and like Joe's legit that, and Coach is not legit? Just the contrast.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Joe's like, no, I really am about it. Coach is like, yeah, me too. It's like, come on, Coach. Like,
stabs him in the back.
Coach has never been about that. Coach told everyone on Instagram. I know I've cut you off. I'll let you continue, Rebekah. He said on Instagram, he said, I've retired from Survivor like 5-6 weeks ago. And I was like, no, he has not. Because his follow-up comment to somebody said like, oh no, we wanted the Dragon Slayer again. He's like, yeah, I've retired like Brett Favre. And now infamously Brett Favre, I don't know if I said this with you, Rebekah, on the podcast.
Yes.
Infamously Brett Favre retired, quote unquote, 3 or 4 times and then came back to play like just a few months later in football. And so when he says he's retired like Brett Favre, he picked his person very carefully when he said that. He knew what he was saying. And I called it. I called it. I was like, the coach is like this. He's very careful with what he says. But he's trying not to lie while lying, if that makes sense. And yeah, I'm retired. He knows what he's saying. He knows what people are going to think. He then says, I retire like Brett Favre. Okay, Coach. All right. Okay, Coach. I know
it's exactly those types of shenanigans that I want to see on season 50. Like, I want him to bring that energy to this season, and then I will be excited to see him play.
Like when Sandra was on Pearl Islands, and she's like, I told him to his face I was going to do that, but he didn't know behind his back I was crossing my toes or whatever. It's like, what?
Yes, right.
That's Coach, but like he's anyways. All right, Matt, Rebekah, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry. I couldn't forget.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And I think that was kind of most of it. It's just like, yeah, I'm excited to see how he kind of interacts with some people, especially like Joe. Just, yeah, if they try and form some sort of honor-based alliance or something. And then, yeah, hopefully, I mean, I'm assuming that would inevitably crumble. And yeah, I just hope it makes for good TV. And I think Coach is one of those people who is just himself in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Even when he's on TV, even when he's surrounded by cameras. And I always appreciate that.
He plays it up.
He does for sure. He knows what he's doing. But yeah, so I'm excited to see him again.
We are jumping from season 18 to 32. I am a little disappointed there's nobody from the 20s, but at the same, initially started in the 20s, what I mean, some of these people obviously played one of their seasons in the 20s. Nobody initially from the 20s, a couple missed opportunities there, but I think at the same time, the 20s were filled with like little mini returnee seasons. And then they had Cambodia, which is 31. They had Game Changers 34. They had Edge of Extinction 38. Like there was enough opportunities for everybody in the 20s to come back. So like, all right, fine. But I say that, and then we go to Aubry Bracco, who has already played 3 times. My goodness, this is her 4th time. Started on season 32, where she was another second place person. I don't have a number in front of me, but I only feel like it was half this cast like second place. I think it's like a lot of second place people from pre-40. She got second place in Co Wrong, lost to Michelle. A lot of people argue she should have won. Goes on Game Changers, finishes in 4th. Goes on Edge of Extinction, and well, I don't want to spoil it. I will. Don't want to spoil Edge of Extinction.
Go ahead and say it.
No. I'm not going to. For those with context, when we talk about 37 and 38, Madison will need to leave the room because she has not seen them. And Rebekah and I told Madison, my goodness, you need to watch these seasons before, like, we're not going to spoil them.
They're so good.
Listen, I have to publicly say to my beloved husband, please watch these seasons with me. I want to watch them with you. And then we can progress through the episodes. We always watch them together.
Yes, watch 37 and 38. Goodness gracious. Stop skipping the good ones. So she is on Edge of Extinction as a returnee. She does really well. Co Wrong is her best run of the 3. I guess I've spoiled a little bit, but I am like, do I look forward to Aubry again? I think the thing is like her story was told over such a short time. It kind of reminds me of Amanda Kimmel, where it's like Amanda Kimmel played 15, 16, and 20. It's like 3 seasons, but they're all kind of rapid fire. And Aubry's kind of the same way, where it's like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like there wasn't much character growth because there wasn't enough time really. Whereas you get some of these people, and it's like you put enough seasons between, there's character growth. And I'm thinking, okay, Edge of Extinction, season 38, that was filmed like back in like 2018, I think. There's been time. And I'm hoping for character growth because I think Aubry with character growth is going to be a more interesting Aubry. I think her best story was her first season of the 3, frankly. So Rebekah, what do you think about Aubry coming back? Are you high on Aubry?
I mean, I'm very high on Aubry. Here's the thing. It's no secret. I'm a big fan of Aubry. I think we talked about this back in, 47 when Q was like, oh, you shouldn't say Aubry's your favorite player. Like, that's a huge mistake.
On 46, yes. So Q was like, Aubry's your favorite player? That's a big mistake.
I'm so excited to see him on an island with her. Like, that's going to be so incredible. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Aubry. I feel like she's one of the people that when I was first, this is just like a personal anecdote, but when I was first watching Survivor, I really related to her a lot because of her story arc in her first season where, she kind of went through like, I guess almost a panic attack or just, really doubting herself and like, oh, like, what am I doing here? I'm not good enough, whatever. And then we got to see her kind of flourish and just like blossom and really, come into her own. And I agree with you. Like, yeah, the follow-up seasons, there wasn't a ton of growth in those seasons. So I'm hoping as a character, yes. Yeah. And just what we saw on TV, of course, in the edited show. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm hoping that, in season 50, I would love to see her win. I think she deserves it. And I'm very high on her personally. But yeah, and just excited to see her play with Q. That's going to be hilarious. I hope they end up on a tribe together.
They have to put them on a tribe together if they're doing 3 tribes. If they're not doing
Q could be on any tribe. Any tribe with Q on it, True. It sounds like we're excited about.
Q is a Q.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Any tribe with Q is a good tribe. Put Q, Coach, and Aubry on the same tribe. Why not?
That would be insane. I would love that.
And Tiff, just for fun. See if she can do it again.
Q would want to be like a mini Dragon Slayer. He's like, can I be like Q would be the second Dragon Slayer. I don't know. Though Coach did dub Sophie on South Pacific as the next Dragon Slayer, but I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, like,
but Q has the Q skirt, so he brings something to the alliance.
Q's new photo, like his cast photo for 50's likely to be him in a Q skirt. Like a missed opportunity if he doesn't do it. Missed opportunity.
So. That'd be amazing.
Big mistake if they don't do that. Madison, what do you think about Aubry being on 50?
Yeah, so another player where I've not seen every season, because I haven't seen seasons 35 through 39, hence my soon-to-be exit from this podcast. But what I did see...
Just watch 37, 38, you're good.
Noted. We'll do immediately after. But yeah, I enjoyed Aubry, and I know that this is a bit of a hot take. I do think Michelle deserved her win, but I think if Aubry had won, that would have made sense to me too. Like that was just, I really enjoyed that season. But I enjoyed watching, at least in Kaoh Rong, Aubry, kind of grew into herself, like Rebekah said, like not being confident at first, having that anxiety attack. And I appreciated seeing that growth in her. And I think her threat level is, I don't know how to say this, but at a safe enough level that she could win. I mean, she's up there for me. Picking a top 3 was very hard for me, so she didn't make that, but she's top 5. So I could see Aubry making it and winning because I don't think she's not a Cirie or a whoever that you want to immediately get out. You could let her coast a while and then she could win it all.
Yeah, Aubry, all of her character growth basically was in Kaoh Rong. She had a little bit in 34 Game Changers and Edge of Extinction. It's just like, it just felt like her character story kind of ended with Kaoh Rong. Like there was a little bit of progression. Yeah. So I'm hoping that 50 is like, again, but Aubry's older. What's her age now? She's 39. So, and it's been since 2018.
That's still young.
7 years. I'm not saying it's old. I'm just saying it's been 7 years since she's played last. And her if you think about it, her first season was 2015, I think is when they filmed it. So 10 years ago. Yeah, I mean, 10 years can definitely change a person. So we'll see if Aubry is a different person this time. If she's the same as she was her past 2 times, I'll be like, okay, like I kind of missed opportunity. But I'm hoping Aubry has changed and has grown and is like definitely progressed. So it's like an interesting story to come back to her because I felt like it was kind of diminishing returns with Game Changers at Edge of Extinction. Kind of like when Ciara voted off her own mother and then they kept bringing her back.
She what?
She did what? I know. Can you believe it? Ciara voted off her own mom.
I cannot believe it.
When they brought her back, it felt like diminishing returns as well. And that's how I kind of feel about Aubry. It's like they keep like trying to hit that goal that they got the first time. And it's like, it's just not there. All right, let's move on to our next player, Chrissy Hofbeck, who is another second place player. It's almost like there's so many second place people. Second place on Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. Many argue that she should have won that season. However, Ben Driebergen went on a crazy idol find. I think he found and played like 4 or 5 idols. I forget. And at the end of the day, though, if she was meant to win, like the jury would have voted for her. So I don't know about her. She should have won. But I have been looking forward to her coming back because I thought she played a fun game. Believe it or not, I know Madison, you haven't seen her season. She won 4 individual immunities, but she also won a bunch of like reward challenges as well. So Chrissy, despite like, what was this? This is again back in, what was her last time playing? It was like almost 10 years ago, I guess, for season 35. Oh my gosh, has it been that long? Yeah, 2017. So 8 years ago. She was a challenge beast in her 40s. Can she do it in her 50s? I mean, the cast is generally older. I think there's a chance that she could be somewhat of a challenge beast. Maybe not like winning 4 individual immunities like she did last time, but I think she could do pretty well. She is no slouch. Rebekah, since I know you've actually seen her season, what do you think about Chrissy coming back?
Yeah, I mean, so yes, I have seen her seasons. I will be honest, she is one of the people that I think this speaks more to my memory than her game, but I don't remember a ton of her on the show, which is like kind of crazy because yeah, she made it really deep in the game. But I do think that she's probably going to be one of those people that, again, comes in maybe underestimated. And especially just because there are so many like big threats in this season. Mm-hmm. I do think some of the, again, I'm not saying like she's in her 50s. I'm not saying that's old, but I think, relative to Survivor, like that is on the older side of things. So I could see her definitely being, just underestimated. And I would love to see her do what she did, again, and just win a bunch of immunities, win a bunch of challenges and really show everyone like, hey, you can still be a challenge beast, even, whatever. So I'm excited to see her come back. I don't know that I have a ton of thoughts or expectations for her, but I would be surprised if she doesn't make the merge, I guess.
I really like that there's so many second place players because I do think it helps the perceived threats. That's why I said like earlier with Ozzy, it's like I'm not asking about Ozzy because it's not like his last season was his second place season. That was his first time. It's like well, Chrissy's was, but it was like 8 years ago, and there's so many second place people, and sure, she got robbed in many people's eyes because Madison, this is the season where they introduced the Final Four fire making twist. And it was a surprise for them. It was presented as when Chrissy, I forgot how it worked this time, but like when she won the final immunity, they were like, oh, and also we're going to do this fun thing. And like, that's how they introduced it. It wasn't not like, they did not say, hey, if you win this final immunity, you get to decide who does fire make. It was nothing like that. It was literally like, we're also going to have this fun thing. And so in many people's minds, they're like, oh, they introduced this just to help Ben. And I'm like, no, I fully believe that I'm not saying this is true because obviously I didn't work in production. I fully believe that production had this planned out and that they thought this would be a twist because just the prior season as a twist, they changed the final tribal council format. Nobody's told about that in advance. And Jeff is doing everything in his power to change how these people at the end are getting screwed. That one of them was the final tribal council format being changed, fire making. I mean, it was all in the same time period. So anyways, Chrissy got screwed in people's minds. I think she has a pretty good shot to come back. I forget. I'm sorry on how she does when she plays again. I don't think she's going to be an early target. I could of course be wrong. I think since last time she played, she had, I don't know how to say this. I'm just trying to say this the most PG way possible. I think she had breast implants and then she had to have a surgery to like remove them. I don't know if she had breast cancer or something like that. I know it's happened in between. So while we joke about sob stories in the new era, I don't know if that's going to naturally lead to, because Jeff, man, he's all about those sad stories. I don't know if that's going to naturally lead to, like, she's the only player I can think of off the top of my head. I'm like, I will have a story coming into the season because that happened in between seasons. And I don't think it was like a choice. I think it was like, as I said, I think it was like an illness or something that caused her to have that surgery. So anyways, Madison, do you have any thoughts on Chrissy? I don't want to like not give you any chance.
Chrissy girl, I saw you for the first time today. You got a great smile. That's what I know about Chrissy. She does have a great smile. Like I said, here to represent the casual viewer. I have not seen every single season, and Chrissy's season is one I've not seen. So
it's okay.
It's a winning smile.
She gets second. That's all you need to know. And she got screwed in many people's eyes. But again, if she played the best game, she should have won over the jury, and she didn't. So. Okay, Madison is gone because Rebekah and I both asked her if she's seen 37, 38. She said no. And I'm like, what? I'm like, you cannot be on this podcast and be spoiled on the beauty, on the wonderfulness of Survivor David versus
so
Goliath.
Good.
It's insane. In fact, it's I brief story on Rebekah and I. Now, Rebekah and I were friends prior to this story, but this is what got Rebekah basically like on the podcast in a way, because in October 2020, Rebekah was doing another podcast. You can look it up called Broke at the Oscars. Rebekah, big success, like made lots of money.
Yeah. Huge success. Yes. Yep. Super famous.
It made Liz amount of money. Anyways, I was on the podcast in like October 2020. And we, believe it or not, can you believe it that we were supposed to be talking about film and I rabbit trailed over to Survivor and Rebekah was right there along with me.
Oh, I remember this. Now that you mention it, I remember this. We talked about Survivor so long on that podcast. I think I had to cut some of it out because we were supposed to be talking about film. Yeah. And it was like half the podcast was all about Survivor. That's so funny. I forgot about that.
Honest to goodness, look at Broke at the Oscars on like Spotify. Go to the October 6th, 2020 episode. And that is truly Rebekah and I's first time podcasting with each other. And it's basically the origin story of her and I podcasting on this one. So that was our first ever podcast before she joined us for Survivor 43. So anyways, that was October 6th, 2020. We talked about Survivor. And then I saw Rebekah in person. We went to this event in August 2021, I believe. And then we talked, we were at another film event where we talked about Survivor. And so at that point, Rebekah had watched Dave vs. Goliath. Does that sound right?
I think so.
I mentioned it on the podcast, the Broke at the Oscars podcast. This is all lead into because Dave vs. Goliath is the season I recommended to Rebekah. We then met, saw each other in person, and Rebekah and I talked more about Survivor from there. And then Rebekah,
mind you, in a group of people, and the group of people that were there, like all our other friends, had not seen Survivor, do not care about Survivor. They were all just listening to us have this conversation, and they had no idea what we were talking about.
An intense conversation. again, if we had recorded that would have been another origin story podcast, but that one was not recorded. So yes, again, another pre-podcast. If only we had recorded it. Who knows? That was pre-441 premiered. So then a year later, I think Rebekah and I, again, were talking about Survivor because that's our friendship. Before Survivor was about film. And then our friendship after we started talking about it became Survivor, and we've grown closer as friends. Yep. So thanks Survivor, and especially thanks Dave vs. Goliath, because that was the season I recommended to Rebekah. All that to say, 3 people from 37 are on this season. Thank goodness. This is the one season. I mean, I'm okay if Mike White wasn't here. I got been fine. Like Davey instead of him, but I get why he is. So we'll talk about that. Let's start with Angelina. Oh my gosh. Like Q. I didn't want to say this when we were podcasting with Rebekah. Like Q. I am so excited for Angelina to be back. I'm afraid she's not gonna be as funny. Like she'll be like, unlike Q, who's self-aware and might make more jokes. I think a lot of Angelina's jokes were not being aware. And I'm afraid that her being aware might make her not funny. I don't know. Like she legitimately tried to get Natalie's jacket. She legitimately traded for rice and then was like, I didn't want to bring this up, but I traded for rice, and brings it up like 10 times. She legitimately thinks she climbed 50 feet on a ladder for an idol. Like she legitimately did all these things. Like she legitimately thought, like when she tricked Dr. Allison with the fake idol, and Dr. Allison knew immediately. Angela's like, oh, what? You found an idol? And it was an idol she planted. It was like so obvious. It was so funny. Like Angelina was a goldmine of comedy, and I'm afraid that she's going to be too self-aware and not be funny. I don't know. I'm glad they cast her though, because like I wanted follow up on Angelina. She was gold the first time. If there's even like a quarter of the amount of gold from last time, like it was worth it, because we got 24 people, so she doesn't need to be the star of the show. But what do you think about Angelina being here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think in terms of like her winner threat, I mean, I'll be curious to see, if she plays differently than she did last time, maybe she'll surprise us. I feel like she's not going to come in with a super high threat level, which is good because, I would love to see her on this show for a long time. I mean, I'm always a fan of like bringers of chaos, if you will. And yeah, I mean, just to kind of echo you, I think that anything that I'm just hoping that she's not too self-conscious at this point. Like I want those moments where she just says whatever's on her mind. And, I don't know, the whole jacket situation is something that I always, I think of that. And it's just so funny. I don't know. I love characters who are just fully themselves. And I think something that we've seen in a lot of like current seasons of Survivor is people being afraid to like be themselves in one way or another. Whether that be, just afraid of like fan backlash, or everyone just trying to be very kumbaya and just, go with the flow and whatnot. So I'm hoping that Angela can be one of the people to kind of buck that stereotype and to, just be a character, say whatever's on her mind and make for good TV. So I'm excited that she's back.
It's easy to forget she finished in third.
It is.
It's so easy to forget.
It's very easy.
She got to third place. She got to third. Like we talked about how many second place people are in the season, but like there's a couple of third place people, her and Joe notably. I don't know if there's any others. Her and Joe are notable in my mind, but it's like, a third place player. Like I love when there are good characters and they made it super deep so that like the threat level isn't just you made it deep or you're just a big character. It's you're both. And I don't know if Angelina's gonna be a big threat though.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if she's anything like she was last time, Angelina's just a character, and I will be A-okay with that. Definitely a good addition to this cast. A much needed one. The next player we're going to talk about is Christian Hubicki. Abso-flippin' needed to come back. From the first episode of, this is why I told Madison, I was like, I think there's maybe like one dull episode of Dave vs. Goliath. And even then, like, I don't know, in comparison to a lot of seasons, it's not even a dull one. Because Christian Hubicki's there like almost every episode. He makes it, he gets 7th, but I think he gets knocked out. It's the episode that he gets knocked out, I think, is the worst.
Is he out that early? That's so interesting. Because he's like one of the most memorable players from this season in my mind.
Well, he makes it to the penultimate episode, if I'm recalling correctly. So he's there, but it's the penultimate episode that like he's almost non-existent in. So like he's such a character for the first 11. And then the episode he goes out is the episode they barely showcase him. And that was to me the worst episode of the season, is the one where he goes, but also because he's like barely featured. It's like we could have gotten a couple more Christian moments, but we didn't. But yeah, Christian's like every chance he got was amazing. From the opening of the show all the way until he's like, he like does that one challenge for 6 hours where like Jeff forgot to tell them a rule about their back. And so it was too late.
Oh yeah.
That's why that challenge went for so long. Jeff forgot to tell them the rule about having to keep their backs against or something like that. And like, but as a result of Jeff forgetting a rule and trying to make a challenge last 10 minutes instead of 6 hours, we got an epic challenge that lasted 6 hours because Christian was just talking Jeff's head off. Jeff, have you heard of Reuben sandwiches?
A captive audience.
Yeah. Apparently during that rant, Christian told Jeff why Game Changers suck. So hopefully when Jeff makes 50,
incredible.
Hopefully when Jeff makes 50, he thinks about what Christian said about Game Changers and doesn't botch, doesn't botch 50. But yeah. Yes. What do you think about Christian being here?
Yeah, I'm very excited to see him back. He was one of the names on the list that I was probably most excited about. He's definitely one of the most memorable players, like I said, from David versus Goliath. I do think Christian is going to come in with a fairly high threat level. I do think that he's, one of those players that he can kind of talk himself into a dicey situation of just, like the more you talk about how smart you are and, how good you are at puzzles and all that, like he's really going to have to be mindful of that. I think that, he might be able to slip by with some people some people from newer seasons not necessarily being super fans of the show. They may not know who he is, but I feel like, he's going to have a reputation coming in. So I think, hopefully he'll make it to the merge. I would love to see him go deep in this game. I think he really deserves, a chance to do well or not. I mean, I think he did well in his first season, but I think he deserves a chance to win, honestly. But yeah, I'm excited to see him come back and see him play, and hopefully they've got some new challenges, some new puzzles that he can absolutely slaughter. And yeah, I'll be excited to see him play again.
Christian's one of those people that if he wins, I can't imagine it's not a 10 out of 10, like he's a character.
Yep.
He's a strategist. He's entertaining. Like it's like kind of like Q.
He's got it all.
For me, It's like if Q wins 10 out of 10, which we'll get to Q later. But if Christian wins 10 out of 10, like unless Christian's a different person, but I've heard him on Rob as a podcast in the years in between, and he's not. He's just older.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to Mike White, who I gotta say, like on one hand, this is the one of the people I could have been like, I'm okay if they're not there, but I get why he is. So for context, Mike White wrote School of Rock, starred in it with Jack Black. Did Amazing Race twice, did pretty well Amazing Race the first time, not so well the second time. He ran it with his dad. He is a close friend of Jeff, told Jeff, what the flip are you doing Redemption Island a fourth time on San Juan del Sur? Don't do that. And then Jeff didn't do it. So Jeff actually listens to Mike White. Again, this might help. I know, but how much good has Mike White done? How much bad has Mike White done? I don't know, because look at where we're at in the new era, like how many but Mike White apparently helped Jeff after Winners at War not do as many dumb ideas on 41. Like he had him.
Can you imagine if he wasn't there?
Mike White apparently helped him tone down the number of stupid ideas in 41. That's what Jeff said. So hopefully 50 is, but then again, Jeff said on his podcast recently that he wants, he says, we as an audience should want maximum advantages. And it's like, where is Mike White to co-host with them when we need him? Like Mike White needs to come and be like, Jeff, that's not a good idea. Like Mike needs to. All right. So anyways, all that to say, Mike White finishes in second, and another second place person on Dave vs. Goliath. Some people theorize that he threw Dave vs. Goliath, like threw it at the end and didn't try to win because he was already like famous and like rich, and like he would have felt bad like coming in and dominating. And Mike White is that kind of person. Like I've seen him, by the way, I saw him in like Dog Whisperer a couple of times. So Mike White's on many other, I know, talk about a random show, right? When I saw him, I was like, you kind of get like a feel of his personality outside of like game shows. And he's also, but most notably, White Lotus is a huge thing post Survivor Dave vs. Goliath. So I get why they brought him back. He's the most, believe it or not, famous person here. And I think this time, if he reaches final three, he needs to just go for the kill. Do not let the other person win. Just take it this time. Take 50. If you can take 50, take 50. Don't be like, well, I'm super famous and I have lots of money. Screw that. Win it. And if you want to give the money away, go for it. Like Gabler the money if you want.
Yeah, pull a Gabler. Yeah,
everybody,
exactly.
I mean, not everybody, but I like the Gabler gave the money away. He didn't need it, so he gave it away. He gave it to charity. Good for him. Mike White, give it to charity.
Yeah.
Just win the game. Like, it's not your fault if everyone else lets you win. Like, you beat 23 other people. Guess whose fault that is? The other 23 people. Win the game, Mike, if you can win it. I don't think he will, but if he gets there, he shouldn't take his foot off the gas. What do you think about Mike White?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is interesting because I remember him from being on the show, obviously, but I feel like I've heard his name more outside of the context of Survivor just because of, like you were mentioning, especially White Lotus being so huge right now. So, I mean, yeah, he's one of those people, like, I could have taken it or left it, you know, with him being in the cast for 50. But hey, if his popularity brings maybe some more people, some more viewers to the show, then I'm all for it. That's very cool. I don't know that he's certainly not high on my list of like people that I want to see win, but he seems like a nice enough guy. Hopefully they have wine again this season. Wasn't there something with him like getting super drunk in his season or something? That was like a storyline. I vaguely remember that happening. I don't really remember the context, to be honest, but
it was in the finale. He got like hammered. And then he actually, Angelina had like lost the clue to her idol or something like that. And she couldn't find it.
Oh, no way.
And then Mike White, while walking around drunk, is like calling tree branches the B word. And like, and he ends up finding the advantage for her. It's like.
That's incredible.
Right. So if
man.
Mike White can just play and have fun and not worry too much about, you know, the fact that he already has a bunch of money. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing. I'm always a fan of players who are bringing fun to the game. And I feel like Mike is a good type of person to do that, especially because, like you said, you know, he's maybe not super concerned about winning. So hopefully, yeah, he can just bring an element of fun and adventure to the season. And yeah, so I'm excited to see him play again. I won't be super upset if he gets voted out, but hopefully he can bring new viewers to the show. That would be awesome.
All right, our next player is from Survivor 38, Edge of Extinction, Rick Devens. His middle name's Williams. It throws me off. His real name is Patrick William Devens, so like I constantly get his name mixed up. Even though it's just,
what?
I know. His name's Rick Devens, but his full name's Patrick William Devens. So yes, Rick William. Rick Devens, Flippen he was a fire-making challenge away from winning Edge of Extinction. People give Chris Underwood crap for winning after being voted off third. Rick Devens was voted off fourth. And I think what gives him separation from Chris Underwood is that he came back at the merge and it was only gone out of the show for like 2 episodes. So it didn't feel like he was voted on episode 4 and then returns episode 6. Sure, he was gone, but it wasn't like that long, you know, like it wasn't that long. So like he played most of the game in the show proper and caused absolute chaos in the post merge. I remember him like planting fakes and like multiple of his fakes were played. And as people are finding him, he's like laughing in the background. He played the second half thing. Like the moment he comes back in the game, he plays like he has nothing to lose. And it made it so much fun. So much fun. And I hope Rick Devens plays 50 like he has nothing to lose, because then it'll be fun again. Like main character energy on Edge of Extinction, but like that's okay if you're gonna like put this much work in. And he won, I think, 4 individual immunities.
Oh wow!
He had idols.
Remember that? Good for him.
Hold on, let me double check. He had 1, 2. Yeah, he had 4 individual immunity wins. He played 2 idols to negate 7 votes. He planted fakes that people played. Like, yeah, Rick Devens came to play, and it was like it made people forget Edge of Extinction. The first time watch is like, what just happened? Like to a lot of people, it's a bad way, but in my opinion, it's one of those seasons like actually better in a rewatch, and it's definitely better knowing all that Rick Devens does, and the fact that he was really like, if he won, all he needed to do is make fire. He had that season. He was the winner. He's also On Fire co-host, which we're going to talk about the bias here a little bit, but it seems like but he's like the one On Fire co-host. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. You should have been locked no matter what to be on the show. So what do you think, Rebekah?
Yeah. I mean, I think it is interesting because like, obviously I know the name Rick Devens and I've seen his season. I have only watched his season once, which I think, like you said, I do think it would probably be better on a rewatch. It's so much better on a rewatch. So I think I potentially have maybe a more bitter taste in my mouth for that season just because I have only seen it once. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, I hope that he comes out and just has a good time. I hope he doesn't have too much of a reputation coming in. I mean, I think that there's going to be a lot of other really big threats. So I don't think people are going to be going after people who deserve a second chance.
I think he'll
right
be
away.
Okay, but he does have the issue of having nobody immediately who can be his ally, whereas 37 has 3 people,
That is also true. And I mean, just the fact, you said he won 4 immunity challenges?
And he played 2 idols, and he faked out a bunch of people with idols, and it's Rick played an insane game.
Maybe this is why Jeff wanted us to vote for maximum idols and advantages, is just so that Rick Devens can find them all.
Jeff was too afraid to give us binary options on the advantages. He's like, you either want minimal, strategic, or dynamic. What does that mean, Jeff?
Yeah.
Trust me, you want dynamic.
Dynamic means we just give them all to Rick. They're all just in his bag.
Dynamically, the show chooses who gets them. Dynamically. And it's all to Rick Devens. You know what? I'm okay with that.
Man.
He can't win, though, if you do that, but I'm okay with it. But he can't win, but I'm okay.
Yeah. I would love to see a situation where he gets to make fire again and wins.
Yeah, it's kind of
that would be such a satisfying,
full circle.
Yeah, just a satisfying end to his story arc. Because again, we'll see how he plays this time, but once he plays again, I don't know if he'll have anything else to show us. I mean, maybe he'll play super differently this time than he did last time, and we'll be bring him back
play
again.
The same, right?
But right, exactly, yeah. So I don't know. I'm hoping that he goes deep, and I would love to see him win fire. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dude, imagine Rick and Cirie are facing each other in fire at Final Four, and it's that
would be brutal.
No. Only one.
That's a lose-lose right there.
Yeah. Well, I think the only way it's a win in any ways if Cirie wins, because if Rick wins, it's gonna be I want to feel good for you, Rick, but here's Cirie is again at the end.
I know.
But
poor
Cirie. Again, that's on at that point. I said it the first time. It's a bit on Cirie, to lose the first Final Four fire making, but it was also on Cirie when she lost the challenge that she said she should have been good at as a nurse to Amanda.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. And then Evangeline, I know it's unpopular, but Cirie had equal opportunity to look for these advantages.
That's true.
I hate to say that though, because I know people aren't going to agree, but she's had the opportunity. It's not like she was medically evacuated out of the game. Cirie's, it's just that she keeps being on the wrong side of the luck when it comes to these things. And so
I think
she needs to be on the right
just
side for once.
And she's just such a likable person that I, as the audience, I just want her to succeed. So yes, even if it's oh man, that was just unlucky or whatever, it's I'm still mad about it because I like Cirie. You know, I want her to succeed. But anyway.
I like her too. And again, had she been better at challenges, she would have won Big Brother 25. She was close. So we talked about Cirie earlier. But anyways, but she didn't win the Traitors. And the Traitors was purely a social game. And hey, when it's purely social, Cirie's got it.
And that's her strong suit right there. Yep.
Okay, well, that's it for Rick Devens. We can let Madison back on the podcast, take her out of timeout. Okay, let's move on to Survivor 42. We are now in the new era. These are our 12 new era players. All right, starting with Jonathan Young, who I believe if he wasn't on this cast, we would have gotten David from 48. Glasses up for David. I don't know how you pour one out for David not being on the season.
Glasses of milk.
A glass of milk.
Yeah, pour a glass of milk out for David.
Pour your glasses of milk out for David, which he would not approve of unless it was 2%, because that's garbage. Only whole milk for him. Anyways, I see Jonathan. I just think David.
Whole milk's the best.
Yeah. Jonathan, he is back. And Jonathan did pretty well his first time playing. He was on the tribe with Marianne. I remember him being annoyed by Marianne because she was just going nuts. And he's like, can we just have some peace and quiet at my tribe, please? For the love of everything. I don't think he was going to win, though, if he reached Final 3. I just didn't, this was not his season to win. With that jury, if he sat next to Marianne, he was not winning. But he did go out. I believe he lost in fire. So he was very close to making Final 3. He just missed it. I'm looking here, double checking. Yes, he finished in 4th. So really, he did really well. He did that one challenge where everybody, man and woman, swooned as he carried literally his tribe through that storm in that one challenge. The challenge that Jeff had to stop it for everyone else, but Jonathan did not need it stopped because he carried his tribe to a victory. And that's where everyone's he's a challenge beast. He's a challenge beast, but they just don't he needs the challenges they did in 48 is what challenges Jonathan needed, because they were all arm related, strength related.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upper body.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jonathan needs some favorable challenges because he would dominate it on the right challenges. Jonathan, in between 42 and 50, I don't talk too much about what people have done in their private lives, but I do really like that Jonathan has gone to other countries and is doing missions work. I am personally a fan of anyone who does that. You foster a child, you do missions work, stuff like that. Like, I'm going to give you props. So not that I think that affects anything, but I do like that. So Jonathan, I don't think is going to be a big threat strategically, but just look at him and he's the only person in the cast that looks like this. He's a big threat. What do you think, Rebekah?
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree. I like Jonathan. He seems like a nice guy. I do fear that, I mean, I would be surprised if he doesn't make the merge, but I think he's an early merge boot, to be honest. Because, as soon as we get to the individual portion of the game, people are going to want him out of there. And especially, it's been a while since I've seen 42, but from what I recall, I don't think he had the best social game. So, I mean, maybe that's something that, he's had time to reflect on and, watched his season. And, maybe he'll, come into this season and make some really strong alliances and, do better with that. But, I like him. He seems like a cool guy, but I don't personally see him winning. But I will enjoy watching him do challenges again because, very impressive.
And he was in the new era during the first 2 seasons back when it was a hot mess before they had smoothed out any of the rough edges. True. Right. Like those are the hottest mess of any new era seasons because none of the smooth edges had, like nothing had been smooth. It was just like every idea, they kind of just threw it at the wall and said, haha, this is fun, right? That was the 41 and 42.
And so dangerous.
It's so dangerous to have a journey every single episode. And what if there was like, you like rolled a dice to see if you die or whatever. I forgot. It was like do or die and all that crap. So he survived in absolute insanity getting to Final Four fire making. But I'm like, how does Jonathan get to a Final 3? Like just looking the way he is, like, unless all the challenges are puzzle, but even then, like, and I'm saying that because people be like, oh, there's no like physical challenges.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar to Rebekah. I think Jonathan's someone you keep until you merge because he's going to get you to the merge. But personally, when I was watching his game, what stood out to me, and I hope Rebekah's right that there's been some reflection, but to me, he got a bit condescending. I didn't like how he spoke to other people on his tribe. And so I think if he were to continue that and he were to make it into late game, I still don't think he'd win because for me, that's a poor social game. Despite having a strong physical game. So sure. I hope that's changed, but I am excited to watch him do challenges. And I hope not that I'm saying, I want them to cater to who's on the show or on the season, but I would love to see more physical challenges just to see what else he can do. And again, going back to what I said earlier, I want to see him in Ozzy. I want to see what that looks like.
But again, God forbid there's any challenge people face off in a one-on-one battle for any physicality.
Them. That would be crazy.
That would be scary.
It's like people ask 100 guys versus a gorilla. What if it was 23 survivors versus Jonathan?
That would be amazing.
He would get overwhelmed. But I mean, if it was it was like Jonathan on the sumo thing versus the R23 and he has to beat all 23 of them in order.
They came at him one at a time. Yeah. He could take him for sure.
Jonathan is worn out at the end, but Q's the last one. And Q's got this glit in his eye, like Maria did when she saw Kenzie. Q has the glit in his eye. And he has this crazy trick and he knocks Jonathan off. But yeah. Oh, anyways, Jonathan. He's one of the people I am okay with him being on. I wish it was David, but I get that he's the only early new era representative. So they had to pick somebody, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm actually shocked. Yeah. I'm shocked they didn't pick Shan, to be real. From 41. I am too. Seemed they were in love with Shan. And of course, Shan brought chaos. So I'm actually surprised Shan's not on. So I guess they were really trying to go with people that people generally liked because I don't see anyone here people generally hate. I know people aren't always big fans of Coach, but there's no one here that people really hate. And that if Shan would have brought out a lot of people being hateful. So. All right, let's move on. We jump to the second half of the new era just that fast, kind of, sort of. Emily Flippen from 45. Flippen A, dude. Flippen everything. Flippen villain excited. Goes to Flippen hero by the end, does the best of her Lulu tribe, but Flippen didn't have a Flippen chance because of her Flippen alliance and her Flippen tribe. So Emily Flippen, who also Flippen said that she would never Flippen play again, Flippen is here. She's on Flippen 50. What do you think, Madison?
Flippin' excited, like I said.
Good.
No, I really am, though. I did not expect to see Emily Flippen. I believed her when she said she wouldn't be back. I think she's a great example of someone who can learn in the middle of the game and adapt really well. And so I'm excited to see her back. I'm excited to see her with the progress that she already made when she was on 45. I would love to see her go farther than her 45 counterpart who's going to be on the season. But I'm an Emily fan. I wasn't at first, and she won me over. And I think she could really go far, honestly. She's in my top 5, not my top 3, but it's all arbitrary. She's up there for me.
Yeah, I agree. I am a big fan of Emily Flippen, and I am excited that she's coming back. Like you said, I think we got to see, sort of a character arc from her in her first season, and I'm hoping that only continues. I do think that she definitely needs to find her Caleb this season. Like, I feel like she's one of those players that she needs someone to, like, give a little bit of guidance. But I mean, I mean, she can even grow beyond that, and we've seen that. But I do think that, like, yeah, coming into this, she's going to need to form some alliances and to get some, personal connections early on. But if she's able to do that, I could see her going deep in this game, because I don't think that she's going to come in with a huge threat level. But like you said, she's one of those players that is really good at adapting mid-game, and that is huge. So I'm very excited to see her back. She's just absolutely, I don't know, very entertaining to watch. I just really enjoy her personality, and just like the scene where, she's listening to everyone talk about the aliens forming the pyramids or whatever it was that they were talking about.
Yeah.
That scene lives in my head rent free. I think about it at least once a week. It's so funny. So I hope we get more moments like that this season. But either way, I'm very excited to see her back.
This is a surprise one for me, considering that she was very adamant she would not come back. But yeah, I'm flipping excited that she's flipping back. I want to say that with all personal biases aside, I think that the winner of Survivor 50 is going to be from these 11 people who are from 45 through 49. The odds are in their favor. They're the most recent. If you watch past attorney seasons, with the exception of Heroes vs. Villains, it seems that the more recent you've played, the better chances you have at winning. If you think through all the winners of returnee seasons, just the way it tends to go. Game Changers was a winner from 28. Winners at War was a winner from 28, but he also played in 34. Winner of Cambodia was from 29. You jump back to Blood versus Water. Tyson was 18, but he had played on 20 as well. And then you go to, I'm sorry for spoiling all these, but whatever. Well, we were here talking about 24 players. We're spoiling. Get out of here. What's the other? Right. What's the one before that? Kara Moen,
for the
Cochran
seasons
played,
I haven't seen.
That's okay. Cochran played on, the only ones you need to watch are 37 and 38. 26, Cochran wins, but he was on 23. And then you think full-blown returning seasons. I mean, Philippines was a returning season, kinda. Not really. It's only 3 people. And then One World was not. South Pacific, I mean, Coach got second. Redemption Island, Boston Rob won. So those are kind of like weird ones where it's like those weren't full returning seasons. Then Heroes vs. Villains, Sandra won. Micronesia, Parvati won, and she had just played on 13. And then you go back to, you go all the way back to All Stars where where Amber won. Though she was season 2, but let's be real, Boston Rob kind of carried, did a lot of the legwork. So I don't know. It just seems like these more. So I guess it's not like a hard rule of like most recent, but it seems like the newer returnee seasons, like after Sandra wins her second time, people tend to be on the newer end of the scale when they win. So personal bias aside, I think Emily's in the 11 people who I think have the best chance of winning. But I sure hope that the old era gets their act together, works together. Let's put it that way. I hope there's not like, let's work together, and then they don't, and then they screw themselves. Because I feel like I've seen that storyline before multiple times. But yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. With Emily, we're staying on the same season. We're going over to Dee. Dee, her and her big toe. This is our first of 2 winners. I mean, there's 2 people from 49. And the fact that Dee and Kyle are here tells me that one of the 49 people could be a winner, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. I feel less certain of. But Dee, winner. So let's be real. Can we all be real for a second? Okay. Rick Devens, who was on 38, was an On Fire co-host. Dee was an On Fire co-host. Charlie, who's on the season, is an On Fire was an On Fire co-host. I'm actually shocked that Rachel, who is the most recent On Fire co-host as of the time of us recording this, is not on this season. Maybe she was offered and said no, because it seems like you were an On Fire co-host, you were given like first dibs or something. Oh, after Boston Rob, of course. Given second dibs. Of course. Second dibs. He gets first dibs. Second dibs to all the On Fire co-hosts, because my goodness, 3 out of the 4 of them are here. Dee played on 45, won with the Reba 4 Alliance, pretty dominating pretty easily too. I'm like, shockingly. Played Austin like a fiddle, just for them to not date after the season. He ends up dating Jeff Probst's niece, and she ends up dating Wendell. And that's a whole mini scandal where her and Wendell, I will say, are equally at wrong. Wendell confirmed this happened, so I think it's okay to say it. Where Wendell cheated on his baby mama with Dee, and they both are still dating as of 46. I don't know if they're still dating today. They're still dating as of 46, so they're both in the wrong for those who are going to talk about it, in my opinion. Anyways, Dee, I didn't want any winners back. So when I said Ozzy, and I said Stephenie I didn't want to see back, like I was okay if they didn't come back. Like I'm sure Dee and Kyle will be something when they come back, but I don't know if I want 2 winners on a cast of 24 people. It just feels like Australian Survivor did a season, like an all-star season, where they brought 2 winners back, and those were the first 2 boots. And that's kind of how I feel about Dee and Kyle. It's like, what are your odds really, like, of making it past the merge? Like who's gonna let you get the, like, it's not heroes versus villains situation where you got somebody with like the hubris of Russell Hantz dragging you to the end, thinking that the winner is going to lose to him. You know, like there's no one on the season like that. So, I mean, to my knowledge, I could be wrong. Maybe Q. I don't know. I think Q's more playful than crazy like Russell. Dee, I know still Dee. So I guess there's 4 people. I'm like, why are they here? And Dee's one of the 4. I'm like, why are you here? Is it because you're on the On Fire podcast? I don't get it. So, Rebekah, what do you think about Dee? Are you feeling better than I am?
Yeah, no, I think I'm feeling pretty similar to you. Yeah, I don't see Dee going very far. She's, again, one of those people, maybe she makes the merge because, like, she's not necessarily a challenge threat in my mind. I know that she won some during her season. I forget how many, but she does have that big toe. That is an advantage. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see her as, like, a huge social threat either because, you know, her whole season, I mean, unless she
won 3 immunities. Holy crap. I didn't realize she got 3.
Oh, did she win that many? Wow. Okay, that is surprising.
Yeah, she got 3.
But I mean, yeah, unless she's able to find, you know, another Austin to follow her around like a puppy and, you know, do whatever she says. Like, no disrespect, but like that is kind of how she made it so far.
She's on the season. She's like, I'm not with Wendell anymore. I'm open. Yeah, I'm open game to fall in love again.
Exactly. Yeah, which maybe, you know, there's always the possibility that maybe she's aware of that coming in. She's going to play differently. And I would love to be surprised by her. But yeah, I am not very high on her. I don't see her making it super far into this game. She just has too many things against her with being a winner. And yeah, just not enough in her favor, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't see her going super far in this game.
If her and Kyle go out early, I'll be like, expected, and that's fine. Because like you've already won. Like I truly would have rather have had other people from the new era. Like Dee should have been replaced by Shan. I know it's controversial. Dee should have been replaced by Shan, and Kyle should have been replaced by David. Personal opinion. I know. Who would have guessed David would have been one of my picks, but
shocking.
Dee is not destined to win. And if one of these winners, by the way, pulls it off, I eat my words. Amazing. Make Kyle, watch Kyle make me eat my words a second time.
Again. Yeah, dude, that would be actually crazy.
We'll talk about him here soon. Madison, what do you think about Dee coming back?
Thinking strictly of her game and what was filmed for television, I did enjoy watching her the first time. I liked her game. I do think, like you said, she kind of needs an Austin. Or maybe I take that back. I don't think she needs an Austin. I think it helps her to have an Austin and have an Austin who brings a Drew, and then she gets more numbers.
Like Austin's actually there as an advantage.
What? No. Great idea, but no.
You remember that one time at Game Changers where they brought Cochran as an advantage? That could be Austin this time.
Yes. I do remember that. But I would argue, though, if we're going to go back in time, I feel like Drew's a better strategist than Austin, so give her Drew. But, you know, like she very quickly formed really good relationships. I don't think they necessarily have to be romantic. So when I say, you know, it would help her to have an Austin, it helps her to have somebody who's going to tag along with her. But yeah, have a buddy. It's similar to Emily, but in a different way, right? Emily needs a coach. Dee needs someone who's going to be her right-hand man or woman. And she had 2 of those, and she was very lucky to have those between Mama Julie and Austin. But
definitely.
Like you guys, though, I just don't. I wasn't here to have winners back this quickly. I guess if I look at all of the winners, maybe I would have picked D2. I don't really know.
I think winners would have been fine if they pulled somebody like an Earl from season 14. It's like, well, okay, you weren't on Winners at War and it's been so long and you played once.
Yeah,
but like D,
a recent winner is not for me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And that includes Kyle, who I liked.
Yeah. And I will say also, if we're talking about like people she should have been replaced with, I would have loved to see Liz instead of Dee.
Yes.
Just want to throw that out there. Liz would have been great.
So
I'm pissed. Q, you're on the season.
I need another Applebee's reward.
Q, you better not win the Applebee's reward. Q's like, but Liz, you voted for me back in 46, so. Yeah. Oh, Liz. Oh, that would have been amazing. She's so rich, though. Does she need to be on the season? Like, she's loaded.
She really doesn't. But she's so good for TV.
I don't know. She's just so rich. All right, so let's move on to Q. This is 1000%, right? By the way, Carolyn and Jesse not being here is sham, like a complete crap. Sorry. So when I said Dee should have been cut for Shan, Dee should have been cut for Carolyn.
Bring Carolyn.
Yeah. No, Carolyn first.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Carolyn should have been the woman and cut Kyle for Jesse. Like, that would have been correct. Yeah. That would have been like factually, I think everyone objectively would have agreed that Kyle.
We've crunched the numbers.
Yeah. Cut Kyle, replace him with Jesse, cut Dee, replace her with Carolyn. And I think we have a much better representation of the new era, especially since those are
agreed.
The early new era. I guess if you're going to separate the new era into 2 eras, the Eras Tour, as Rebekah would call it.
Oh,
as Charlie
reference.
We're getting to him soon. Let's start with my most anticipated player of 46 is Q. Q and his Q skirt. Q causes QOS. I don't know. That's not really a catchy word, but really it's what he causes. Doing literally anything that Q perceives as anything is a big mistake. Playing games with Q is a big mistake. Voting out Q is a big mistake. Simply doing anything that Q perceives in any way, shape, or form is a big mistake. So it's best to just sit on your hands, though that could be perceived as a big mistake.
That's also a big mistake.
Yes. Him being
Aubry, big mistake.
You know it's going to be the first confessional 2 of 50. They're going to be on those stupid boats that they've built for like, that they've used for like 15 seasons in a row now. And Q's going to be like, I looked across the boat over at Aubry and I said, whoa, Aubrey's here? That's a big mistake. First confessional of the season. This is an important season. We're at season 50, hands of the fans. I'm wearing my Q skirt. I see Aubry. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Q, I am so excited for Q. If Q wins this season, that is Tony winning Winners at War levels of awesome. Like, honestly, the one new era player, I'm like, if you win, absolutely. Like, absolutely. This is the new era player I want to win. I don't know the people in 49. Maybe I'll change my mind after seeing Riz God and whatever the other lady's name is, Savannah. But if Q win at the moment, if Q wins, like, that is the best person. As long as he's still himself. Like, he doesn't like, he cannot be Q, but like not fun. Like, Coach was not fun his 3rd time. Q cannot be not fun. Q just has to be himself. And he wins like 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It saves anything negative about season 50. Kind of like Tony winning Winners at War. So Q, I am so looking forward to Q. Madison, what do you think? Are you pro Q?
I'm excited for Q. When I was thinking of, new era, who do I want to see? It was Q and Carolyn, and then maybe a splash of Liz, right? Just to be
Carolyn was on the Traitors, so that's not okay. But Cirie can be on it.
I wanted her back so
Cirie gets a pass.
Oh, and also Boston Rob was on it, and he was asked. Yeah, it's just Carolyn.
Oh, right.
It's only when it's Carolyn. Apparently, you can't be Carolyn to be on the Traitors. But if you're Boston Rob and Cirie, it's okay. Yeah.
Q makes for TV that I love watching. Like, I love when Survivor is fun and funny and campy and so silly and what's even going on. And I live for Q's antics. I didn't at first because honestly, I was a little put off by him chronically asking to be voted off. But once he got over that.
That's part of his QOS, though.
I forgot about that. Yep.
It's a big mistake to not vote him off when he asked for it, though.
And he did that like at least 2 times,
he did
maybe
it twice.
even 3.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm excited to see him back because like we were saying earlier, put Q on any tribe and I'm happy about it. I want to see all these different pairings. I hope he goes far. I don't anticipate him winning just because he's an agent of chaos and they don't typically win. But I just am excited. Like, can you hear me smiling?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Q on my screen again.
Every scene with Q will be 10 out of 10. Q's going to go on there and be like, I'm just waiting. He knows it too. He's going to say big mistake about things and he's going to know what he's doing. He's going to smile about it. We're all going to be smiling with him. Like, we all know what Q's doing. It's kind of like if Coach does Dragon Slayer and Coach Chi and he's being like he knows what he's doing. Like he knows. Q knows what he's doing.
He's in on the joke.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're in on the joke, but you like, and you play into it, it's fun. But if you're like in on the joke and I don't know, you can be in on the joke and ruin it, but I don't think Q can ruin. If anything, he needs to invent more new jokes, which I'm sure he will.
Yes.
Yeah,
I hope he's spent his time well, since being on the show, just coming up with new phrases and new things that he can, like little catchphrases and stuff.
He's a dad now. So surely he leveled up with dad humor.
Yeah.
Well,
and I actually met him very briefly at the Nashville Survivor fan event that happened whenever that was last year. And he was like very chill in real life. Like he was very like almost mellow compared to what he was on TV. But that being said, he was wearing a Q skirt to the event. So like he's still like, he's the type of person that at least my impression is, he totally owns the jokes and the things that he does. So I hope that he continues that and is even more chaotic. I hope he plays it up a little bit more for the show. And I do agree. I don't think he has a really great shot at winning, but if he does win, I will be a big fan of that. That would be amazing.
Dude, Flippen Q, man. Like, if Q doesn't win this season, you can cancel Christmas, okay? You can just cancel Christmas if Q doesn't win.
Absolutely.
I didn't even know that you could cancel Christmas until Q told me. And I was like, I didn't know you can cancel the whole holiday. Jesus was born. Q's like, you can cancel that. You can cancel Christmas. All right, let's move on to Tiffany. This is a lot of people's where the heck did Tiffany come from pick, but I kind of get it. Like Tiffany, I know she was on a season with so many big personalities. But Tiffany, I get, like, she was there. She was a prominent figure. And while she was not Liz or Q levels of chaos, like, Tiffany wasn't like a nobody either. Tiffany finished 8th, was on the infamous tribe with Bonu and Q and Kenzie. And I cannot forget the time that Bonu was on his hands and knees begging. He's like, Tiffany, please.
Get off the ground.
Please. She's like, get off the ground. Like that, Tiffany. Like that is Tiffany was fun. It's just that Tiffany was surrounded by bigger characters that it kind of like overshadowed her at times. But like Tiffany was fun. I get this general sentiment of like, how is Carolyn not here? How is Jessie not here? And we're getting Tiffany, we're getting Dee, and it's like, yeah, but at the same time, I get it. And I see why most people are like, where the heck did she come from? But I don't know. If anything, that actually helps her. I think that the fact that Tiffany's kind of like a what the heck pick to many people, and the fact that I think she was overshadowed on 46 by bigger characters, I think helps her on 50 in terms of her winner chances. Like legitimately, I think if anything, the thing is, I don't know. Will she link up with Q or will she actively avoid him? I don't know, because she was like begrudgingly working with Q, and then her and Kenzie were making fun of Q behind his back. Like I remember that. So Tiffany, kind of like a sleeper pick to win, to be real with you. But what do you think, Madison?
I love Tiffany. I know that a lot of people are like, what the heck? How'd she get on? I was really excited when I saw her because I did enjoy her game. And I say this like jokingly, but Tiff walked so Kamilla could run when it comes to being a really good ally who then gets voted out. Like she is loyal. And I think if she had cut Kenzie off sooner, I do think Tiffany had a fair shot to win. I mean, they just brought back an old school loyalty that I feel like we haven't seen in a long time. And, she was able to be on a tribe with Q and to be on a tribe with Bonu and to lose repeatedly. Yeah. Pure Q-os. I really enjoyed Tiff, and I'm excited to see her come back. I think she's going to be probably undervalued, which I hope she, uses that. I hope she uses that to get far and to do something. And I hope she learned from the last time that even if she does have an excellent ally, there might come a time where you need to seriously cut them off. And I think she got a little blinded by her anger at Bonu. Bonu was not going to win. So when she chose to cut Bonu off instead of Kenzie, I think that got her. So I hope she learns from that because I'd be happy with a Tiff win.
Yeah, I agree. I am very excited to see her play again. I mean, like you said, there's definitely bigger characters who I am disappointed that they're not playing, but I'm very excited to see Tiff come back because, I think that she, in a lot of ways, was overshadowed and just didn't have a ton of, I guess, opportunities in her season to really shine. But the moments that we did have with her, I just really enjoyed her personality and seeing her play. So I agree that I think coming into this season, she's going to have a really low threat level. And also there's just going to be so many other people causing chaos and getting attention. So I would be surprised if she doesn't make at least the merge. And honestly, I'd be surprised if she doesn't go deep into the game. But yeah, I'm excited to see her come back. And I want to see more of her because I feel like we didn't get enough of her in her last season. I'm excited to see more of her playing and see how she's learned and grown since her last season.
Okay, with that, let's stay in 46 because that's the thing we need to talk about is the fact there are 3 people from 46, 3 people from 37, though I feel like that's earned. 3 people from 46. I don't know about. There should only been 2 people from the season and 3 people from 48. Come on, 48 needed 3 people. At least 46 was a good season. Anyways, our third person from 46 is Charlie. And by the way, when I say this, I do not blame the players, but the On Fire co-host gig, apparently that's your ticket in. That's how you get almost guaranteed a spot on the returning season. So look out for future co-host on the On Fire podcast. Watch Riz God be on the 49. Oh no, he can't do 49, obviously. Oh, well, we'll see. Watch Kyle, Joe, or Kamilla be on the 49 co-host because they were, Anyways, with that, Charlie Davis, the Eras Tour, he's one of those people who he's the only person right now that has a story video in the making. Him and Kyle. I'm making both their story videos. It's not done yet, but as soon as it's done, it'll be on Patreon. So link in the description to that. Charlie finished in second, another second place player. And I know it's not half the cast, but gosh darn it, sure feels like it. There's a lot of second place people here. Charlie's one of them. And let's be real. If Maria didn't see the glint in Kenzie's eye, this is a relevant topic. And Kenzie was like, I want to selfishly spend the $1 million. Then Charlie might have won. No, that's not it. Obviously, let's be real. Maria was salty. He voted her out. Charlie was 1 vote away from a tie vote. And Ben confirmed that if it was a tie vote and Ben had to choose the winner, he would have picked Charlie. Charlie was that close. A Maria salty vote away from winning. I think he earned his spot on the cast, but at the same time, I would have been okay if he didn't come back to play, but that's just me. What about you, Rebekah? I know you're a Taylor Swift fan as well.
Yes, I am a Swiftie, and Charlie's actually another person that I met at the Survivor Nashville fan event. So I was able to thank him for his representation of Swifties on Survivor, which was really funny because I feel like most people probably approach him and are like, oh, I'm so tired of you talking about Taylor Swift on TV. So when I started talking to him, I could see he tensed up a bit.
He's like, oh no.
And then I was like, no, thank you. Yeah, I was like, thank you. I'm a huge Swiftie. I love the representation. And he just immediately relaxed. He was like, oh, great. Swiftie. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of excited to see Charlie come back. I definitely feel like he deserves another shot in a sense where, I don't know. I think Kenzie deserved her win, but also I think Charlie deserves to win. That being said, I'm really curious to see, because his first season was so heavily focused on him being a Swiftie, I'm kind of curious to see what other elements of his personality they're able to draw out, because if it's another season of just Swiftie, Taylor Swift stuff, as much as I am a Swiftie, I think it would get a little old at this point. So for the sake of TV, I hope that they don't lean into that too much. But I also would be really curious to see, if Charlie is going to play differently this time because of the way that Maria burned him. I mean, he burned her first, but I'm curious if that's going to affect the way that he makes alliances and stuff. So yeah, I'm interested to see him play again. If he gets cut early, I'm not going to be too upset about it. But at the same time, I do think for his sake, I hope he gets another shot to win because, yeah, I don't know. I think he deserves it personally. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on Charlie.
Madison.
Yeah, I think Rebekah covered Charlie pretty well. I do think of everyone in this moment of me knowing this information for exactly like 7 hours who's on this cast. Charlie is my pick right now to win, just because I think he's such a good strategist. I agree with you, what you said earlier, Wesley, that one of the newer players is probably going to win, I think, because that makes sense. They're going to pick off the people who've done it more. But, I hope Charlie has learned from, his experience with Maria and not been so burned by it that, it jades his view or it makes him make choices to prevent that from ever happening again. But I think when it comes to new era strategists, Charlie's up there for me. I thought he played a really good game, and, Kenzie played a great game too. She played a social game and she won. And I think she's kind of controversial in a similar way that Michelle is. But Charlie could have won and I would have been happy with that. I am happy to see him back because I think he deserves another shot. I do think he was a victim of a bitter ally. And I would love to see him have another chance. I don't know what'll happen, but I'm here for him being on this cast.
Yeah, Charlie, even though he got second, potentially sleeper pick, I don't know. I think he played a good social game. And I mean, it really was the fact that he just burned Maria that made him lose the game. Though apparently he could have still been on this cast because the winners were allowed on. So win or not, he was here no matter what. But yeah, Charlie, I think he has a decent shot. But let's move on to our next player. Let's move on to the only representation 47. I got to say, before I say who it is, obviously, I am surprised Andy's not on here because Jeff could not stop talking about how much he loved Andy on the podcast, on the On Fire podcast. And he also did the same thing with Save from 48. So another person I'm a little surprised is not on this cast, considering how much Jeff seemed to love them, which shows you that despite how much bias Jeff has, I mean, we all have bias. Despite how much bias Jeff has, he's still like, it's not just 24 people of who Jeff's favorites, though he did ask Boston Rob. So there are definitely some Jeff favorites, but it's
despite Jeff's best efforts. Yes. Yeah.
Like maybe Rachel turned it down and they put on, what about Genevieve? Because yes, Genevieve is here, finished in 5th place.
Let's go.
Genevieve, another sleeper to win. She's the only person 47 immediately. While I think for some people it is a hit that they're the only one from their season, she's kind of like buried in between this like mass group of 49, 48, and 46. She's the only one from 47. And while that does mean she's by herself, it also means the threat level's kind of low, Like if
I think that helps her.
People can pick off these 48 and 46 and like 45 is 2 people, 49 is 2 people, 48 and 46 are 3 people. And like, sure, if they all stick together, they pull a Joe Hunter and try to stick together and be annoyingly, thick about it in their heads, like sure that would have hurt her, but I think Genevieve frankly has a good shot to go deep, frankly has a good shot at winning and like going under the radar long enough to pull a what about Genevieve, like Keyshawn, if she wins at the live reunion, Keyshawn, I believe it's what his name was, Keyshawn has to be there, and Jeff's like the winner is Genevieve and you must cut not to her family in the audience but Keyshawn, who goes, what about Genevieve?
I knew it the whole time.
The whole time I was trying to tell you, what about Genevieve? Genevieve's third eye is going to see into what everyone else is doing on the season, and she will know what moves to make. Rebekah, this is your doppelganger on Survivor We Determined.
Oh, yes.
Rachel was Mary's doppelganger. Mine was Rome. We won't. It's also, I wish Rome was here, but I get Rome being cut. Like, I don't get Carolyn and Jesse, but I get Rome. So what do you think about what about Genevieve?
Oh, I am so excited. Honestly, like as much as, I don't know, maybe this is an insane thing to say, but she was like one of the people I was most excited about on this cast list. I think partly because, I mean, maybe it's prideful or whatever, but yes, I do think that she plays very similar to the way I assume I would play, having never played Survivor.
Similar personalities.
And so, it's very similar personalities. I think I would also go out like 4th or 5th. So, just very similar vibes in a lot of ways. I'm very excited that she's back. I think she's a great strategist. And, you kind of mentioned her being the only person from her season. I mean, she's shown on her previous season that she's not afraid to, work on her own. Like, obviously you need, some sort of alliance or some sort of people that will vote with you. But I think Genevieve is good at surviving, even when she's a lone player. So if she needs to do that for a couple votes, I think she potentially has the skills to do that. And yeah, I agree. I don't think she's going to come into this season with a very high threat level, but she is a really good player, in my opinion. And so, yeah, I'm very high on Genevieve. I hope that she makes it really far into the game, at least top 5, if not more. So yeah, I'm excited that she's back. I'm excited to see her play again.
Me too. Hopefully, and she learned her lesson after last time where she was like trying to play a cold game and she realized she didn't need to do that. Hopefully this time, and I think she will. I mean, it's so recent from her last time. And I do like when players don't go on social media and just like, I don't know. She kind of hid herself away from everybody, which seemed, again, a Rebekah move.
Yes.
So
very much
Genevieve,
so.
like, it's not really, even though she just played, a season ago, it's not really in the public eye. Like, she was on the show, but she's not like on social media and like you're seeing her all the time anyway. So yeah, what about Genevieve Madison? Oh, go ahead, Rebekah. Talk about your doppelganger.
Also, sorry, one last thing, because you also brought up a good point. I think Genevieve is another person similar to Emily Flippen, who we've seen that she is able to change her game in the moment, like during the season. Now, I think in her first season, it was a little bit, too little, too late. So I agree. Like, I think that she's shown that she is the type of player who can learn and grow. So I hope that she's, watched her past season. She understands what she did wrong and is going to play differently this season. I think that's probably what's going to happen. So yes, just wanted to throw that out there.
Genevieve was close to like one more immunity win. She's in fire at minimum. Like, she was that close. Yeah. It wasn't like she was, I don't know if she wins. Of course, I have to go back and I haven't watched 47 since I made Rachel's video, which admittedly was only like 5-6 months ago. But there's so much has happened since then. What about Genevieve? So did she have a chance at winning the jury? I don't recall off the top of my head, but I am looking forward to her playing again. This is one of those where it's like, yeah, no, this person needed to be on. Madison, finally, what do you think about Rebekah's doppelganger?
So I love that's Rebekah's doppelganger. I have no idea who mine would be.
You have to pick it from the 47 cast. That's the rules.
Yes. 47.
Well, that's how mine's Rome. Mary's is Rachel. Rebekah's is. What about Genevieve? So yeah, that's how it works.
Yep.
See, what's so hard is 47 controversially is one of my least favorite new era seasons. So I just don't know. But on the Genevieve note, I would say very similar to what Rebekah just said. That was actually my main point I wanted to bring up, is that I love players who know how to learn from their own game.
You're Caroline.
And can adapt within Caroline.
Yeah, Caroline, the strategy consultant from Chicago. That's you, dude.
Yep.
Yes.
I forgot about Caroline.
Yes, out of everybody 47, you are Caroline.
Partner with the pilot. Got it.
Yep. Well, no, wait.
But yeah, no.
Wait. Well, hold on. Who?
Yeah, Sue.
What?
Did you know she's a pilot?
Since when?
Did you know Sue's a pilot?
Since when?
Since forever.
Nobody tells me anything anymore. All right, go ahead.
I just never
Did you
forget.
know? Okay, this is going to blow your mind, but Sammy's 19.
I don't think he knew that.
No, he's not. He was 22.
Did you know that Ciara voted out her mom?
When he played, he was 22, right?
No, he's only 19. He's been 19 the whole time.
He was 19?
This whole time.
On Survivor 43, Sammy was I thought he was 22. Now, keep in mind, I never watched
he's only 19.
I never watched the after show, so I don't know if he revealed it to everybody if they were shocked or not. But he was only 19?
Yeah. It's a pretty big move.
Wow. That legitimately, that's scarier than any journey that's ever happened on Survivor. Holy crap. All right, but for real, Madison, seriously, what are your thoughts on Genevieve? How far do you
I'm
think she's
okay
going?
with the rabbit trail. No, Genevieve is one of my top picks. I think she's insulated well in that, 46 and 48 have so many people. I think that's going to help her, not harm her. I can't see Genevieve being someone who's going to, I don't know, come back cocky or come back with a vengeance that hurts her. I think she's going to be very smart about it. She's proven that she's a smart player. She's proven that she can work by herself if she needs to. I hope that she learns from when to reveal how great of a player she is, because I feel like she struck a little too soon. And I think had she not done that, I do think she had a very fair chance. And again, to say that 47 was one of my least favorite seasons, Genevieve and Rachel were my favorite players from that season, and Rachel won. So I think Genevieve's got a good shot, and she's one of my top contenders.
All right, well, let's move on to the season. We literally just got done podcasting last week, so this should be super fresh in our brains. 48. Let's talk about Joe first, because Joe is kind of by himself in comparison to the other two. So Joe was, I guess, the fact that he lost in retrospect makes it plain as day why they were so pro Joe in the edit and the storytelling. And like, it was the Joe show in my mind. I know Kyle had more confessionals and that he won, but it felt like they were putting all their love and effort into Joe's story. And I get all for him to be third place, but I think at the end of the day, they knew he was going to be on 50. Like, Kyle, not like Russell Hantz in the same way, but it's definitely a little bit like they were setting him up to be a fan favorite going into 50. And as a result, I think Joe's going to be a big target going into 50 because of how literally the season ended last week. They just flew out to film the day we're recording this. Like, Joe's on their mind, you know, like, sure. So is Kyle and Kamilla, but Joe's on their mind. Like, Joe, if Joe goes in the, in the pre-merge, I might be shocked because he's good challenges, but Joe ain't making Final 3 again. Like, he had his one shot. I think he's done. I don't think it's happening again. We've talked so much about Joe. It's just like, Joe would need to have drastically changed his strategy over the course of a year. And I don't know. It just seems like such a short turnaround to do something like that. Everyone else, I'm like, okay, you've had, I know Genevieve played a year ago, but Genevieve only needed to make minor adjustments. Joe, in my opinion, needs to make a major adjustment. I don't know if that's going to happen. What do you think, Rebekah?
Yeah, I agree. I think Joe needs to majorly change his game going into this. And the other element is, it's one thing to ask, like, okay, does Joe know that he needs to change his game? And then it's another question to ask, is Joe willing to change his game? Because I think, yeah, and is he capable? I mean, there's 3 questions. So yeah, I mean, Joe, I think he's definitely, at least from what we saw in season 48, he's definitely the type of player who just wants to play a very specific way. And he is a very good listener. Like, we saw he had a great relationship with Kyle and several other people. So, I mean, who knows? Like, Kyle may come into this season and be like, Joe is my number 1. He knows about my past, and so we can't vote him out. Kyle may,
he knows too much.
Yeah, he knows too much. We can't vote him out.
Still.
So who knows? But that being said, I'm not necessarily super excited to see Joe play again because I feel like we've seen his resting concern face. And that's pretty much all that he has, at least, again, from what we saw in his season. Maybe he's taken time to reflect and will change his game. And I'd be excited to see that. But yeah, I'm not super big on Joe. Unfortunately, I would be surprised if he doesn't make the merge. But yeah, I'm hoping he's an early merge boot. So that's my opinion on Joe.
I'm okay with everyone on 48, frankly, going early, though I don't think everyone is going to. I'm just like, for the 48 season, I'm like, we're really representing this season that much. Joe, it's nothing against Joe as a person from what I've seen. Just like, okay, like, I'm okay. I'm fine.
Yeah.
What do you think, Madison? Are you different?
He seems like a great guy, but
are you different from us, Madison?
I am not different from you. And I think Rebekah put it perfectly when she said, is he willing to change his game?
Nobody ever says I put it perfectly. Nobody.
No, they don't. No, but I mean, I think what Rebekah said is accurate because I think Joe will not be willing to change that game. And it's one of the most recent games that we've seen. And so it's going to be fresh on all of their minds. They're going to know exactly how he plays. I definitely see him as a pre-merge boot. And if not, I'm okay to be wrong, but I anticipate that.
Well, with that in mind, we talked enough about Joe for one lifetime, though we'll have to do it. That's nothing against Joe personally. Kyle and Kamilla, let's combine them because I bet you didn't know this, but they were in a secret alliance last season that we just podcast. Kyle and Kamilla.
What?
Yeah.
For how long? The whole time?
No way.
It was in a secret scene, so I don't really know.
Okay.
But Kyle and Kamilla were in a secret alliance, and if they go on 50, everyone's going to like look at them. Like, Kyle just won. They just saw him win a week ago in their minds. Yeah, he did. He just won a week ago on TV. They just saw Kyle win. It just happened. Him and Kamilla just had their whole secret alliance. Like, there's no way these two are going to the end. I think Kamilla could go to the end without Kyle, but Kyle and Dee, dead men walking. Like, they're not winning. They're not getting the end. And if they do, again, just like when I said last time, if Kyle wins, props to him. Again, if he pulls it off, props to him. Like, these two are the only ones that have a shot at joining Sandra and Tony as being two-time winners. But I just, are we really going to be like, Sandra, Tony, and Dee.
And Kyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see an absolutely fantastic 50 to be like Dee and Kyle on the same level as those two. So, Kyle, I wish he wasn't cast, and it's not because of him. It's because he won. It has nothing to do with him. If he hadn't won and Joe had won,
I'd be just won.
Yeah. Like if Joe had just won, I'd be like, don't cast Joe, put Kyle and Kamilla on. That's fine. But don't have Joe, but he just won. Yeah. He just won. So Kyle, don't have high hopes. Kamilla, I feel like if Kamilla can shed Kyle, I think Kamilla has a good shot.
She has to.
Yeah. What do you think,
She
Madison?
absolutely has to. Yeah, I'm with you on the winners. I mean, my opinion hasn't changed. I personally didn't want any winners this season. I really like Kyle. I'm still a little salty that Kyle was my number one winner choice until I fell for the Joe edit. So that's whatever. I stayed strong till literally the very end.
So much love into Joe. It was insane.
There was so much love into Joe, which, I mean, I started to theorize towards the end it would be because he's coming back. Didn't anticipate Kyle coming with him. Let's
don't say think 50 was not a returning season. Do you think Joe gets that edit?
No,
I don't think so either.
I don't think so personally.
No,
because it worked on me, right? It made me like him. However, it didn't work enough for me to want him back.
It made me like the third place goat. Yeah.
I think Joe, I'm sure, is a great human. But yeah, with Kyle, I mean, you just won. I don't necessarily need to see it again. It would be such an uphill battle for him to win again. I don't think he'll do it. I would be surprised if he makes it post-merge only because he just won. Kamilla, on the other hand, like you said, if she can shed Kyle and if she can really forge her own path, there's no way she can do a secret alliance with him again because I think he's gone pretty quick because he just won. So she's got to make her own path. And I mean, I think it's a very, very small chance that she could do it. I'd be okay if she did, but I don't expect it.
And I think Kamilla and Kyle are kind of like and it's not just those two. It's also the people 46 as well. It's kind of the reason why, like, on one hand, it would be fun to have a new era tribe, but let's be real, like the 346s and the 348s are probably going to band together and be majority of the tribe, and then they'll just vote off people or not from there. So like, I kind of do hope now that I have more, I think about 3 tribes with like 4 newbies, 4 old, whatever, 340 players on a tribe. Cause then you could separate Kyle. You could separate all 46s from each other doing that. You could separate all 48s from each other, being on separate tribes. Like, to me, that feels more fair because if you put Kyle, Kamilla, and Joe on the same tribe, like Joe's gonna be like, I trust you too. And Kyle's gonna be like, you know too much. And Camilla's like, I'll work with you till the merge.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be, it's setting themselves up for boring. So in fact, I take back what I said 2 hours ago. And I hope that, or whatever, however long it's been.
Oh, that was like 15 hours ago, actually.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to edit it down to hopefully about 2 hours at this point. We'll see.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah, we'll see where we land.
Yeah, and hopefully they do separate them. So like everybody, I hope that nobody has played with each other on the same initial tribe. I don't know if that's realistic, but I do not want to see any 37s with each other, any 46 with each other. I don't want anybody on the same tribe with each other. We should have separate people. Like everyone should not, like theoretically should not have played with anyone else in the same. Like I understand it might be a little ridiculous when Cirie's played on like 10 seasons, but
right.
Like I understand it might be a little harder to pull off. Like maybe like somebody does know somebody else, but like I want generally nobody to know anybody. So with Kyle and Kamilla, I think we're all on the same page. Rebekah, did you get a chance to speak, Rebekah, on this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do agree with what you guys are saying. I think Kyle, I am happy that we're getting to see him play again. I wish it wasn't so soon. Like, I wish that they would do another returnee season later that he would be cast on, because that, I think, would give him a fair shot. Because I agree with you, like, yeah, I'm not really interested in seeing him play again right now, personally, just as the audience. And also, I imagine everyone on the island with him is going to want to get him out quickly. I think Kamilla, on the other hand, I'm very excited to see her play again. I'm also worried it's a little too soon for her, that she might be a bit of a target, but I would love to see her win. I mean, I think that she deserves a win after the way she played in season 48.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think her best bet to win is, it's a difficult balance, because I think she needs to go after Kyle early and really show everyone that, like, hey, I'm not working with Kyle. However, you can't go too far with that, because I think if you come out swinging with let's go after Kyle, everyone's going to be suspicious and like, oh, maybe he has an idol, or like maybe they're working together, whatever. So I think she has to be very delicate with her gameplay as long as Kyle is in the game. It's just kind of a minefield for her, but I hope that she survives Kyle getting voted out and that she gets to make it late in the game. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm excited to see her play again. I really enjoyed watching her play, and yeah, excited to see it again.
Yeah, but if all 48s go early, I'm okay. Like, and even if it's Kamilla,
it's fine.
Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Some people need to be sacrificed. Let's make it the winners. All the 48s. Some people need to be sacrificed. Stephenie LaGrossa, Jenna Lewis, Ozzy. That's fine. Everyone else go deep. Q wins. All right. So with that, we have
our
49s, our two 49ers. Oh, I can actually say that. Our two 49ers are San Francisco 49ers. We have Rizzo or Riz God, as we saw in the 49 preview, and Savannah, who, believe it or not, had the initial voice you hear in the 49 preview. You just don't see her face when she says it. She talks about being a journalist and how dangerous it is. Or I don't know. I was just listening to see if she was in it at all, and she was the first voice you hear. So we don't know anything about them. It's very hard to give our opinions on them. I know, Madison, you said you don't like Riz God.
Well, I don't know him well enough, but my first impression was, oh my goodness, what are we about to go through? Because honestly, and again, I have seen it precisely one time, so there's some memory bias here, but now knowing he's on 50, in addition to my initial impression, do we have another Russell Hantz? Is this new era Russell?
I don't think so. But I do wonder if either of these people won, because here's the thing. The show, sure, on one hand, I didn't want any winners, but the show putting winners on makes me go, okay, well, I can't say these two people don't win. You know, when it comes to winner analysis next season, we can't be we can know that Rizzo and Savannah are important and probably make the merge. Because I don't think there's any pre-merge people here. Initial season, I don't think any people didn't make the merge. But at the same time, I can't be well, they don't win because they're on 50. No, because there's two winners there. Who knows? Who really knows?
That's the thing. I know nothing about these people. I just have 10 seconds of me hearing his voice and then being afraid that I saw Russell again.
I can't say Rizzo and Russell are the same person at all. But Rebekah,
is he a young Russell?
Do you have any thoughts, Rebekah?
Yeah, I mean, it's again hard to know because we don't have much information. I do think Rizzo was, I don't know, didn't make the best first impression on me personally, but that's not to say that, I mean, who knows? Maybe he's another Q or another, Rome or, something along those lines, and he's going to bring that sort of chaos factor. If that's the case, I would be on board.
Like Rome was on the cast and then they cut him for Rizzo. I could see that.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that, if that was the case, that'd be interesting. But yeah, I don't know. That's really my only thought. I'm curious to see these guys play and see if how I feel about it after that.
I am excited to see Colby or Jenna or one of these people who played a long time ago having an actual conversation with someone called Riz God.
Yes.
Colby's like the what
has
God?
happened?
Colby's like, what does that mean? Because if anyone's out of the loop, it's Colby. Colby's like, I haven't watched TV since 2005. What are you guys talking about?
Honestly, yeah.
Even though he hosted the show Top Gun, but let me tell you, Top Gun felt like a throwback. And also the moment Top Gun introduced people voting each other off and people started making alliances, Colby's like, I hate this. Colby said that. He's the host of the show. So anyways, I looked up Rizzo on Instagram. He doesn't have a public profile at the moment. I looked up Savannah. She seems very much if you look at her Instagram, she's definitely very pretty and she knows it. And I don't know if she's an influencer. Oh, that's the right word, but she definitely is very much pro social media. I will say that. So if you look up Savannah on Instagram, you get maybe a good idea for personality. Maybe again, it is just Instagram. Everybody puts their best foot forward, but Rizzo doesn't have one, which tells me Rizzo's a wild card. Rizzo is a wild card. Yeah,
he might be another Genevieve. Who knows?
No, Savannah might be another Genevieve. But
there's no other Genevieve.
Rizzo is himself.
There's only one Genevieve.
Guess. Yeah,
and only one Riz God.
Only one Riz God. All right.
Yes.
Well, with that, let's move on to our winner analysis, which is really us just taking shots in the dark at who we think has the best chance at winning. And I understand there's gonna be personal biases here, but I'm going to inform everybody. My top three is based on my realistic thought of who I really think is going to win, not necessarily who do I want to win, because who do I want to win is different than who I think is going to win. So with that in mind, my number 3 is Q. Yes, I know. I think Q has a shot only because of how many 46s are on this cast. If Q was the only 46 here, I'd be like, no, Q's going to get voted off. But the fact that there's people here to potentially insulate him and work with him makes me think Q has a good shot. And I think Q could charm a jury. So does Q actually reach the final three? It might be a harder question than Q. Q can charm a jury. Can Q actually reach final three? I don't know. There's 24 people. Well, I'm guessing we're going to see a bunch of double tribals and stuff. It's going to be Q-os this season. But Q, a little personal bias, but also I think he's well insulated and on a cast with 11 people from 45 through 49. So with that, Rebekah, who's your number 3?
Yes, well, I will preface this by saying my top 3 is probably has more personal bias in it than yours. These are mostly like people that I would just love to see win. So my number 3 is Emily Flippen. I honestly think like, yeah, I think that if she can get to the end, like, I think that speaks so much to how she has grown as a player. And so if she's able to articulate that to a jury, I think she's got a shot. And on top of that, I love seeing her play. So I would love to see her make it to the end, just so she can be on the whole season. But yeah, so Emily is my number 3 pick.
Madison.
I went with a pre-40 here, and this is the only pre-40 I've got. But I chose Cirie. I think if any one of them is going to win, it's her. I would love to see it, but I did try to think of my top 3. Again, minimal strategy. I've known about this today. But I did try to pick my final 3.
5 or 6 people in this cast.
I know. I don't know who some of these people are. I just know they have a good smile. But yeah, no, I think Cirie has a shot and I'd like to see it. I would be here for it.
All right. Well, my number 2 is Tiffany. Tiffany, as I mentioned earlier, I feel like is that underdog, under the radar winner who reminds me of like, okay, remember when Amber Burkich won? Remember when Sarah Lucina won? Remember, believe it or not, when Sandra won and everybody forgot she was a winner. Like that's the kind of winner I see Tiffany being, is like just completely ignored until it was way too late. And then Tiffany comes in, swoops in and wins. And that feels like a lot of the new era winners. Like there aren't front runners who just dominate seasons from the beginning to the end. It's more of like people who kind of stay under the radar and then near the end, swoop in, take over and win the game. And that feels like Tiffany would very well do that. Again, kind of like Q, well insulated. I feel like there's a lot of people here in her time period who will be like, all right, let's let us new era people stick together, especially the new era. Let's all stick together and get out these. Oh, I can't believe Ozzy's played 4 times or 5 times. I can't believe, I can't believe Coach is here and Coach is over there doing Coach Chi on the beach. Like that's the kind of I expect vibe, unfortunately. And I think that would benefit Tiffany a lot. Rebekah, who's your number 2?
Yeah, so my number 2 is Genevieve. And honestly, kind of similar reasons that you have for Tiffany, in the sense that I think that she's the type of person who will really fly under the radar for a long time in the game because there are just so many other bigger threats. And even if she does, start to get some attention, I think she can deflect that pretty easily to some people, like you said, who have played multiple times. I think also another big thing that Genevieve has, that Emily also has, is, again, just a proven ability to change the way she's playing the game partway through the game. And so I think, that adaptation is such a huge part of Survivor. And I think that that's really good that she's proven that she can do that. And on top of that, just the fact that she's seen her previous season and I think really understands, where she had some missteps and where she could have done things better. So hopefully with that information, I think she's just a really smart player. So I think that coming into this season, she's going to have a really good shot to win. And I would love to see her win. So.
Well. Madison, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Genevieve.
Hey.
There's
no copying each other. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't copy my homework.
Hold on before. Can I just
Rebekah, I was about to ally with you. But
no allying. We do not ally. But give me a second
I like to outnumber you.
No alliance.
Hold on. My number 1 is Genevieve. So
no way.
She's the only person to be in all of our top 3. So go ahead, Madison. Why is Genevieve your number 2? And I'll say why she's my number 1.
Yeah, I put Genevieve as my number 2 because, again, attempting here to think, who's most likely to win. I selected her for all the reasons that we've probably already heard and are about to hear, but it's just that I think she's a smart player who can change her game as she's playing. I think she's observational. She's likely watched her season and come to some sort of understanding of what happened and what could be better. And what I said earlier, I think her being the only one from her season is a strength because she's the only one who really intimately knows her game. Everybody else just knows what's on TV. And so I think she's the type of player who can play that to her strength. And I think she's got a very real chance of being underestimated and, having the ability to utilize that to get as far as possible and then do something about it. Again, I think one of the newer players is more likely to win. And so I think she's one of two who, could do it. I would be happy with several of them, but she's realistic to me.
Gun to my head, I'd probably put Tiffany, my number 2 at number 1. Like if I was like, had to bet the house on somebody winning, I'd put Tiffany just because there's just something about being under the radar and kind of being the what the heck pick that appeals to my sensibilities. But Genevieve, frankly, I think will blend in terms of threat level, will not be one of the big names, will not be one of the big threats, and could slide to the end. We saw all she needs to do is tweak her game. She doesn't need a massive adjustment. And I think, unlike some people, that's really like, she's really good. She just needs a tweak. A tweak is good. A massive adjustment means we're like changing you as a person. And she doesn't need that level of change to win. So a tweak to Genevieve's game, I think she wins. Rebekah, who's your number 1?
So my number 1 is Cirie. I think because we've seen her play.
Number 3 was Emily 2.
What?
Genevieve 1 is Cirie.
I know,
that is not who I was expecting.
Here's the thing. Well, I wanted to pick someone from pre-40, so that was part of it. But also, I do think Cirie has a shot to win. I know that she has a big threat coming in, so I think that's going to be, something tough that she's going to have to overcome. However, she is so good at the social part of the game. I mean, we've seen her just like manipulate people. I mean, even on shows outside of Survivor, like even just again thinking about Traitors and just
Big
the
Brother,
way that
she got fifth.
Yeah, she's just able to control a room, and she does it because she's so likable and she's so personable and makes great relationships with people. And I think especially if she's able to, connect with other people who have similar values, like, a Joe or a Kyle or someone like that. I mean, not that they're going to necessarily get far in the game, but I think that Cirie will be able to, just manipulate people and get them to kind of, do things, vote the way that she wants and do it in a way that they feel good about the decision. They feel in control. So I'm really high on Cirie. I would love to see her win. I think she deserves it. And especially just, again, like we were saying earlier, I think this should be her last time playing Survivor. And so I think she deserves to win once, and that's just my opinion. Who knows? Maybe she'll come back again. But I would love to see Cirie win this season.
Rebekah, Cirie, and Madison. Cirie played 93 days on Big Brother.
Yeah.
93. Oof. Can you believe that?
That's insane.
That is insane. I don't have her days in Survivor added up. I'm sure it's more than that, obviously. But like 93 in one season. And here are all the alliances she was a part of on Big Brother. You ready? Count them. 7 Deadly Sins, Brown Sugar Babes, Bye Bye Bees, and yes, I am PGing that name, Bye Bye Bees, For Real, Legend 25, The Bookends, The Crossroads, The Fields, The Professors, and The Real Fields.
Wait. Is The Fields, was she in an alliance with her son?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Can you blame her?
That's correct.
I mean, look at Sierra.
That's so funny. That was just so far down the list.
Yeah. There's The Fields, and then there's The Real Fields. So The Real Fields is just her and her son, but The Fields included other players, which I believe was like...
That's hilarious.
There's like a few other people on that one. Yeah, so she was in like, what, I don't know, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 alliances that we know of, like from the edited show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, incredible. The live stream's insane of Big Brother. Yeah. So, Madison, who is your number 1?
My number 1 is Charlie. I think he's got a chance. I think he's a great strategic player. I loved watching his game. I hope he has learned some lessons from his last game. Honestly, it was really hard for me to pick between him and Genevieve as number 1.
What about Genevieve?
But I just really love, what about her? I really love and believe in Charlie, and I think he's got such a good chance. I know I'm just like taking an emotional take, but I just want to believe in this dude, and I want to see him do it. That's end of story. I think if you want to know anything else I think about Charlie, rewind. But I think he's got a good shot.
Yeah, Charlie wins the 10-minute version. All right, so that's our top 3. I knew that Rebekah would appreciate that.
Is that a Taylor Swift reference? I'm so proud.
It is All Too Well.
That's gonna be a Taylor Swift
that's
song.
Beautiful.
If Charlie wins, gonna be Charlie's Win 10-minute version. That's gonna be a new song she makes. All right, with that, let's do some questions you all gave us. We won't do too many of these, but there are some. The first is there's so many comments I had to get through to find the questions. Here we go. All right, Shrek asks, Rebekah, I want you to answer this one. How many people, Shrek, how many people will realize Kyle and Kamilla are in a secret alliance this time?
I mean, honestly, yeah, they might still be under the radar. I don't know. Are they still in a secret alliance? Has anyone checked in with them post season 48?
Is it possible they go on the show and they're like, oh no, me and Kamilla are not working together. Like, obviously it would be too open. Then you cut to them.
It'd be too obvious.
It'd be cut to them like by themselves. They're like, as you know, Kamilla, we're in a secret alliance. She's like, of course.
That would be so funny. I would love that.
All right, Madison, this one's for you. VIP Chris says, so Jeff gets mad at Carolyn for being on the Traitors and then casts Stephenie and Cirie, who were on the Traitors.
And tries to cast Rob.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, yeah, I'm with your question. Question mark.
Like, do you agree that that's ridiculous, or do you think that it's completely fair?
Oh no, I don't think it's fair at all. I mean, I would love to have Carolyn back, and I don't understand why she's not back. So, like, I emphasize your question.
Yeah. Jesse and Carolyn, the 2 biggest new era misses here for sure. Drop the winners out of this 2, and I like the cast. Just drop the winners out of this 2. All right, this one's for you, Rebekah. Liam says, do you guys think Joe and Coach will have an integrity battle?
Ooh, interesting. See, I mean, yeah, I guess I was thinking that they would maybe form an integrity alliance.
They could.
But they could still be in an alliance and also trying to out integrity each other. If that's a word.
Who could be more integrity than the other one?
Yeah. That is interesting. That would be very entertaining to watch. Like, everyone else is playing Survivor and those 2 are just off on the beach, like trying to, Joe's got his resting concerned face just listening to one of Coach's ridiculous stories. Like, that would be so funny. I would love that so much.
All right, last question. I'm going to have you tackle this one, Madison. Are you in them? All right, so, sorry, I missed who said it. Shoot. Anyways, the person who said it said, why wasn't this season just New Era All-Stars? Do you think this should have just been New Era All-Stars, or are you happy that there are 12 pre-40 people?
I think 49 should have been New Era All-Stars. Sorry to those who were cast on 49 for the first time, but I would love multiple returnee seasons.
What, you don't want the Riz God to have his own season?
It sounds like he's going to be there no matter what I say. Yeah. So he's got 2 seasons no matter what. But no, I think we're lacking returnee seasons, and I think I would feel... I don't know if more positively is the word, but I would feel better about some of these new era choices if I knew them for more than a season. And I think 49 being a new era All-Stars, I think that would have helped.
I hate to say it, but 46 should have been an All-Star season, but at the same time, I'm thankful it didn't happen because we got 46. So maybe
that's an appropriate time.
Should have been the All-Star season, considering what we got.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm hoping that maybe 52 or 54, because they always do in the spring season. That's why I say those numbers. 52 or 54 could be like half and half, like blood versus water. As we said, hey, Boston Rob's kid coming up here soon. Could be playing Survivor.
Yeah,
Boston.
that'd be awesome.
Only way Rob's getting on when Jeff calls him every season, like you said, Rebekah. When Jeff's like, Rob, will you play 52? He's like, only my kid can play. And Jeff's like, I can make it happen. I'll find a way. Jeff's like, you know how we got rid of themes, everybody? And everybody in the room's like, yeah. He's like, we're bringing him back. Blood versus Water 3, Boston Rob edition. Well, hey, we have talked for, oh my gosh, 28 hours. Let's wrap it up.
Ooh, that might be a new record.
Might be, maybe. Let's wrap it up. But we want to thank you all for listening. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast. But we're doing Who Wants to Be a Chamillionaire? Yes, that is the name. Next Thursday here on YouTube. Rebekah and I will be dueling to see who knows more about Survivor with a Who Wants to Be a Chamillionaire podcast. It'll be a lot of fun. But anyways, that's it. That's it for today. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.